It's that time again. Welcome to the stage. Oh yeah. Where energy and creativity collide. Here we go. Let's level up. Make this something to remember. All right.
Good evening, everybody, and welcome to NACE Star League Varsity Premier action. My name is Powder, and joining me tonight will be Vincent in place of Septilence. We've got some exciting matchups tonight, both in Rocket League and then Super Smash Brothers later. But before we get into that, Vincent, how you doing tonight? We're into the last chance qualifier. How are you feeling for our one match we got tonight?
I am feeling good. A little disappointed. We almost had two matches, Powder, but only just the one. But I think it's going to be an exciting one. We'll get down into the nitty-gritty soon, TM. But it's going to be a whole lot of fun. You mentioned it's the LCQ. If you're just joining us, here's how things go. The regular season started out back in September. We headed into the conference play-in, which, of course, led to conference championships. All of that leads into this LCQ. That's where it's your last chance to get into the playoffs, where you'll be fighting for your chance to head into those grand finals, which are in person, by the way.
And that's the exciting thing. Septilence and I have talked about it all season in Rocket League, trying to get to that in-person grand final. But today's schedule, we have got Davenport University up first against Oklahoma City University, followed by UOG and SAU after that. Our single match for Rocket League will be that Davenport Oklahoma City University one, and I'm excited to see this one. These are two teams who had a great regular season, but unfortunately kind of fell short towards the end. And I mean, both of them had to face some top teams in collegiate, so it's unfortunate to see, but I think it's going to make for a very, very interesting matchup tonight.
Yeah, I mean, I'd say they had a good season, but they were just one or two games away from being great. And as mentioned, yeah, some very tough opposition stood in their way. What are they standing in the way of? That's scholarship prize money, $1,500 for first place, $750 for second, and $375. I think that's both third and fourth that get to pick that up as well. So lots on the line for the scholarship prizing. You do not want to be missing out.
Not at all, but these teams are a little bit further away from that, and Extra Life as well. Cannot do it without them. Change Kids Health to change the future. Join their super team page today. We know they would appreciate it. I think I just saw in the Discord, actually, that tomorrow is Extra Life game day, so that's another exciting event going on tomorrow as well. So be sure to check out that super team page. Again, could not do it without them here tonight. And also Duncan, of course, NACE Star League could not do it without them either. NACE Star League runs on Duncan. Be sure to check them out as well. And Vincent, again, getting into this matchup, it's an interesting one because both of them played, so for Davenport, they played Northwood University. I mean, that's the best collegiate team in the world, and that's not an exaggeration. And for Oklahoma City University, had to run into RIT. And again, if you're just joining Rocket League for the first time, we played 5-minute games with unlimited overtime, and now we are into best of 7 series. And after that, all game settings are on the default settings, and home team will play on the blue side. So that's your format for tonight. These best of 7s give these teams a little bit more of an advantage heading in late. Septilence I have talked about, especially in Rocket League, it really favors the better team when you have that longer series.
It absolutely does. You have, less of a chance for some sort of craziness to go down. But you're right. I mean, just talking of Davenport and where they fell short in their in the regular season, they went 6-1. That one loss was to Northwood, and you said they're the best collegiate Rocket League team in the world. And I believe it because I was there. I watched them at CRL over the summer. Like, they dominated at DreamHack. It was absolutely incredible, and they were simply better than everyone, it seemed. And not to say it wasn't close, because there were definitely some close endeavors, but it would have been difficult for Davenport to overcome that squad. Omen, Briah, and Shane going to be rounding out that roster. But talk to me a little bit about this OCU team, because they're a team I don't know as much about.
Yeah, and this is the team that Sepulence and I got to see in the conference play-ins, actually. They played RIT, which, again, is another great collegiate team. They haven't made CRL. I think they fell just short. And yeah. RIT, you look at the scoreline of this match against OCU, and it looks like RIT handled them pretty easily. It was a 4-0 sweep, but it really wasn't the case. Game 1, actually, OCU had a 3-0 lead about midway into the game and unfortunately gave it up. And after that, it was all RIT the rest of the way. Game 2 was still a little bit close. Games 3 and 4 a little bit more leaning towards RIT. But this OCU roster put up a good fight against RIT, who is already, I believe, I think they're into the LCQ as well, losing the conference championship. But still, it is a team that put up a tough fight against a team who then went to Game 7 against St. Edwards in the conference championship. So this is a team that Davenport is not going to want to mess around with.
Yeah, that's just it. I mean, St. Edwards, an absolute powerhouse in this conference, and they were pushing them to the limit. So I think Oklahoma City, they should feel good about that. But I will say the fact that they were only looking good in some of those games, still got swept in their second opportunity to play RIT, because they played RIT in the regular season and got swept there too, is a little bit on the concerning side. I'd be lying if I said otherwise, but I think opportunities here, particularly because, listen, Davenport's a good team, but they're no St. Edwards. They're definitely not at that level quite this yet. But both of us going for the Davenport pick, and listen, maybe just a slight bit of bias here. I'm a big fan of this Davenport program, so I do have to go with the friends over there. But I do think Davenport probably have the edge on paper. So.
And I gotta agree. You know, we're on the same page here because I'm leaning into the bias a little bit too. I live in the same city as Davenport, so I gotta go with them here tonight. But I still do think that Oklahoma City University has a fantastic shot tonight. This is a match that honestly could go to 7 games. I don't want to call that and curse it, but this is the chance for both of these teams to show that they had that successful regular season. Yes, they may have fallen short, but they still have a potential to get into the playoffs and to go into the LCU qualifier, or the LCU format a little bit. This is the round of 22 specifically. You win tonight, you clinch tomorrow for Saturday, and after that, you need to win one more to guarantee yourself at least LCQ 2. And after that, you get into the playoffs. The winners of tomorrow's round of 8 will get into playoffs automatically. Losers of that are the ones that go to LCQ 2, which is just a 4-team playoff bracket, and the winner of that gets into playoffs. So there really isn't a lot of opportunity for these teams. Only 5 teams out of all of this are going to make it into are going to make it into playoffs, and only fewer are going to make it into LCQ tomorrow. Yeah, it's a tough field that is on display here for us, and a big difficulty to overcome, I think, for Oklahoma City. They come in as at least slight underdogs in this matchup, but I think they have been cracking. This is what they have been looking for, and most of you actually going to win out on that kickoff. I do believe Davenport retaking control temporarily. A good start for Oklahoma City, at least holding the offense for those first few seconds. Davenport quickly, though, to the counterattack. They want to maintain this offense early. Omen can do it with a challenge at the midfield. Gets it over to the sidewall. K-Storm, unsuccessful challenge. Omen dumping it back. A race back for the save from Tater. Keeps it away from the goal line. Davenport maintaining this pressure for a few seconds. Keeps it away from one. Omen can't keep the challenge in. However, it is Shane into the corner. Will not be able to follow it up. It is a long clear out from Oklahoma City. Some sustained pressure there from Davenport, but no team breaking early just yet.
Yeah, great pressure indeed, but space here created, and that is a little bit tough on that touch. Still going to win it out, though, and now a chance for OCU. Defended. Byra, I think, getting a handle on that. It's going to be a center ball as Omen sends it out wide. Nice work. Unfortunately, it's straight back into the waiting arms of the defense. And a chance on goal. It's wide open. K-Storm going to complete, and there's OCU taking the lead.
Not the rotation that Davenport wants. Byron, not exactly a bad challenge here. He needs to go after the man shooting the ball. Unfortunately, the third man just way too far back for Davenport. They give up a freebie. It's 1-0 OCU early on.
Yeah, a little bit of a mistake in those rotations. As mentioned, though, Byra really kind of stuck between a rock and a hard place. Nice pass work, Byra to Omen over the top, trying to bounce it down in front of the net, but that is not going to happen. Recentered. It's Omen. This one's up wide. Nice defense there, just barely able to get the touch. But it's still Davenport putting on the pressure consistently.
It is good sights there from Davenport with this sustained pressure that they are getting. Unfortunately, haven't broke through just yet, but if they can keep this up, they're eventually going to find a crack in the defense. Maybe it can be here from Omen, but he can't read the double down. Now it's a counterattack on for OCU. Beats out Shane as the last man. Now a pass in the midfield, shot on, cut away. Now Davenport quickly onto their own counterattack. Omen, net is open. Can Shane finish it off? He catches up to it, slots it through, and ties the game.
There we go. Davenport right back in there, and Omen with that win in the midfield, that 50, it just allows Shane the open opportunity, a free entry into the back of the net for Davenport University. With that being said, a tied-up game, 1-1. So we put things down. Davenport have control for just a moment. We're going to knock things out wide. Again, long and booming clear, allowing opportunity to regain control. It's a little bit sloppy, but still the clear.
And Davenport again containing this pressure on OCU, and again they make them crack. Shane has his second of the game and takes the first lead now for Davenport.
Look at that. Just a little bit off on that initial shot from Byra, but then Shane taking advantage. The positioning not there. The rotation's a little bit on the slower side. And with that, a lead now for Davenport.
And again, back onto the offense. They've done it so well to this point. Shane will dump it into the corner to keep it on a little bit longer. Unfortunately, forced to give it away now to OCU. Omen on a quick counterattack. Tater racing back for it. Can't catch up. Omen to hold it in a little bit longer. Another challenge, this time in favor of Byra. He gives it down towards Shane. A miss there, but again, just enough to keep the pressure on for the Panthers. Omen back in again. The rotations from Davenport picking up and allowing this pressure. Shane on the shot. Just gets a slight touch on it. Again, to keep the offense on at the very least. They're not doing anything that's giving away pressure. Omen keeping it close. Shane gets a little bit too close and can't wrap up the shot. And now K-Storm desperate to get this clear. They can't get it done. Back down for Shane again to keep the pressure going more.
That could have been dangerous if K-Storm doesn't actually hit that touch. A little bit fancy. Maybe a little too fancy there from Davenport. The attempt being made. Nonetheless, still a midfield battle. Was a 50 going Davenport's way. And the touch. Oh, it's lined up, but nice defense. Brilliant save and the work done by OCU. But still, just barely surviving in some of these moments. OCU, they need to be thriving, and there's nothing to thrive on here. Down the line shot from Omen. Watch this.
Just a perfect passing play over from Shane. He's been involved in all three of the goals now for Davenport. 2 goals and an assist to his name up to this point. And OCU is struggling to break this pressure that Davenport has given. There was the early goal off of an awkward rotation from Davenport, and since then it's been all of them. Shane goes for another, can't double at home, but again, the third man rotation, perfection. In again to keep it going. 1 minute left on the clock for OCU, and they need 2, but more pressure allowed. A shot in front is put away to the side. But OCU cannot be stuck back just making stops. They need to counterattack quickly, and maybe they can get it going here.
Yeah, with a 2-goal deficit, 3-1 the scoreline, by the way, and that is the way you do it. Just under that 60-second mark, Tater has brought things back. And a little bit of a lackluster touch from Byra, and Shane was stuck in the back of the net. No dice, and that will clean things up for the moment. 40 seconds and a dream to tie this game up. Overtime could be on the cards.
Looking like it now that OCU is starting to build up their own pressure. Still, they got to get it with not a lot of time left. And Shane with a powerful clear out forces Tater to retreat. It's a little bit awkward in the corner. He can play it behind Shane, but can he fully break out? He can't. It's Omen and Byra to keep it in longer, but the rotation for Davenport not quite there to keep the pressure on. Instead, it's a counter. Nickel over towards Tater. It's above him. Not a lot of boost in the tank. Shane is there to cut it off, and they will get the clear in the final seconds. Now it's up to OCU to go coast to coast. Shane just playing keep away. One final shot, left side, just stopped by the post, and it is up, which means life for OCU if they can get coast to coast, but it's going to be tough. Davenport all over the field to try to get this one down to the ground. Shane landing on a player. Byra now forward again. They cannot find the ground. This one should do it, and it does. And Davenport sneaks away with a game win in game number 1.
Yeah, 3-2. It was definitely not easy, not free, but it was pretty dominant if you look at the time in which Davenport had control of the ball. I felt like they were in control for a lot of that game, but I think that if there was one thing that I really enjoyed from OCU, it was that they were very good at being able to take advantage of mistakes that Davenport made. Even small ones, they were able to take those and push them to the limit. Tater there doing just that to push this to a possible victory there in the last 40 or so seconds.
Yeah, and that's the hopeful thing for OCU, is that if they can continue capitalizing on mistakes that Davenport is making, and if OCU can build more pressure of their own, I really think that they have a shot to make a comeback even here in game 2. Davenport didn't make a lot of mistakes, like you pointed out, and those 2 goals were really the only instances of accidents on the side of Davenport. They were taken advantage of by OCU. Now it's up to them to try to find more opportunities and maybe make Davenport crack a little bit more, because Davenport's pressure really got to OCU, and I like that you called out their defense a lot. Their defense was standing tall most of the game, but unfortunately when there is that much pressure, it's bound to crack multiple times.
Yeah, it's something I always say, right? Whenever we're looking at Rocket League, it's like a good defense is absolutely great. Yes, but good defenses don't necessarily win you games. You need to be able to turn around and play it on offense. And speaking of offense, nothing but offense from Davenport in the first 12 seconds here. That is ridiculous. Look at this back and forth.
And not only that, Shane pool shots him into the goal. Omen, he gets credit for it. Shane helping out. Can't quite give him credit for it, so unfortunately his 100% goal participation rate is broken on that goal.
Tragic.
It's definitely tragic, but Davenport, they're not going to complain about it. This pressure has gotten to OCU too many times now. However, an opportunity, Omen on a quick turn will push it to the side. A little bit scary there for Davenport, but they clean up quickly. Now they're back to where they are most comfortable on the offense. Shane, the recovery, can't catch up, but it makes Tater awkward. Forced to play it out and into the hands of Byra now. He goes down to the ground looking to pass it midfield. Can only give it away to Oklahoma City. Shane on the clear out. Has a 1v1 down the field. One chasing the demolition, and he gets it. Unfortunately for him, Nickel gets a successful challenge and some offense for Oklahoma City.
I don't know if there's really a need to chase that demo, but hey, it is what it is. Nice touch there by Shane, but it is going to be met. And this is some very good offense, much needed offense from Oklahoma City. Shane and Omen back, the dynamic duo. Omen getting the demo. Now just 2 players remaining, and Byra going to be able to stop the aggression. So there's no counterattack available now, joined by back by 3. And it will be diffused, the entire situation. With Tater getting that demo and Davenport having to reset momentarily.
With those demolitions, it might be something that the Stars can look towards to getting more stops on defense. It certainly cleared up what would have been not necessarily a goal, but it would have been a free shot for Davenport. So maybe some more aggression can work out for Oklahoma City to find some more space. Unfortunately, they just aren't finding anything to break this pressure. Nickel with a diving stop. Tater can't get it past Byra. However, Nickel will be the one to clean it up. And I mean, the stops are being made. However, they're still down by 1, and they are struggling to find anything on offense.
Yeah, that is the key, right? If you cannot find offensive chances, you're going to struggle. You're not going to have everything at your disposal. Very dangerous ball right there. Nice center of it, Omen. Going to be able to take it. It's down to just 1 player, Tater, but Tater is able to clear things away. Another great 50 by Davenport, followed up by a second. The midfield ball going back towards OCU, and it is nearly on target. Shane takes control and puts it in the back of the net.
This is just high Rocket League IQ play right here from Shen. He keeps it close, sees the desperation attempt from Nickel, knows that he just has to play it slow and play it accurately to get the goal. Places it top shelf. Nickel's not going to get back up to it. 2-0 Davenport as we start to approach halftime. And I'll be honest, this series has been a little more in favor of Davenport than I expected. OCU, their struggles are apparent, especially on defense. No matter how many stops they make, they cannot stop the pressure from the Panthers.
Listen, I would flip that around and say that their struggles aren't necessarily defensive. They've been pretty good. Now, though, it's breaking down because they're trying to find some offensive capabilities, and they just cannot do so. Whenever you try to get too far forward, your defense breaks down. We've seen their stalwart attempts before, but now things struggling, and Shane is making this look very simple, pedestrian even.
He's been the leader for Davenport all day today. Finds another double here. Stretches the lead even further for Davenport. They have been crushing Oklahoma City. Again, I don't mean to just repeat ourselves, but Oklahoma City just needs any way to break out and find pressure of their own. They find these quick spurts like this right here, but it doesn't come away with a goal. It's another clear from Davenport, and it's going to result in more offensive pressure on the side of Davenport's offense.
A little bit of a missed touch there. Attempted pass, not going the way it was intended. Well, that got scary for just a moment, but Davenport able to clear it away, and it's another shot on target. Sort of a easy does it sort of situation, and I don't even know if that was particularly planned out. Just looked like, well, if I'm not going to hit the shot, give Omen a chance.
Perfectly set up either way. Davenport stretches that lead even further. Oklahoma City still not able to find anything on offense. Even after the kickoff, it's Davenport building up that offense again. Top shelf shot, can't catch up. Uses the crossbar to his advantage, stretching the lead even more for the Panthers.
Well, Davenport are showing that they have strength abounding. That was... What an angle for that shot from Byron. Just a little bit ridiculous. Hard to hit that shot, too. At least consistently. Nobody prepared. And OCU, listen, I don't know exactly what time we have on this clock, but it feels like you got to be thinking about Game 3 at this point, Potter.
You really gotta. It's unfortunate here for Oklahoma City. And, you know, they get it back with actually a pretty good solo play from Nickel. Honestly,
what happened here?
Shane, I mean, he unfortunately gives away the possession, and Nickel just fakes out Omen. So, you know, it's a slight mistake from Davenport again that they take advantage of. Shane gives away the possession, and it's immediately taken advantage of. And for Oklahoma City, I mean, yeah, they take advantage of another mistake. Unfortunately, there just have not been enough mistakes for them to take advantage of.
That's exactly right. Mistakes, you know, there was some here and there in Game 1. This time, it's been no mistakes and a higher level of play on the offense, if that's even possible. Shane, going back for more. It's a race, but that race is won by Shane. Tater can't quite get there in time, and here we go again.
Davenport building that lead up to a Brazil now. It has been all of them in Game 2, and it's really surprising after that Game 1. Oklahoma City brought it close within the final 40 seconds or so, and they threatened a little bit at the end. The ball was kept up at 0 seconds for quite a long time. Fell just a little bit short. However, this Game 2, Davenport even more of a threat. And now Nickel with his second brings it a little bit closer, but still with 59 seconds left, likely not going to happen.
Look at this. This was a pretty good play. He threaded that needle, man. That was solid from Nickel. Nice little flick. I do like me some Nickel plays. It's his second goal, so unfortunately we're gonna have to see more. 5 more, in fact, in about 50 seconds. So gonna be hard. I mean, I'm not a guy who says things are impossible, but this was not going to be easy.
Yeah, the odds definitely not in their favor, especially as the clock continues to tick in Davenport, only finding more offense and more shots too. Nickel now will go back the other way with 30 seconds left. And like you said, Vincent, at this point, you just got to look towards Game 3. And honestly, I would look towards the solo plays from Nickel. If you can find a way to pass it off to him sometime in Game 3, it might cause them more favor later on in this series. Close call there as Davenport will build up the offense again and again. However, if Davenport keeps up this same pressure, I don't know if things are going to change. They're starting to look more and more threatening, and it's starting to cause Oklahoma City to crack a little bit more under that pressure.
Yeah, that's the thing, right? This isn't regular season anymore. This is last chance qualifier. And, you know, it's in the name, Powder. Last chance. You know what? Like, you got to go now if you want to have a chance to go through. And right now, Oklahoma City are absolutely struggling. But let's talk about some potential holes in the Davenport University side. They aren't necessarily playing perfectly. We saw a couple of times where they do miss some touches. They have been in positions where Oklahoma City can take advantage, but it feels to me like the passing play is not at the same level as Davenport. And if Oklahoma City can focus on that a little bit more, I think that they could have a little bit more success.
Right, that can find them success on the offensive side, and if they can find a way to cut off the passing lanes more on the side of Davenport, it's going to cause them more success on defense too. Right now, the passing lanes are just left a little bit too open, and Davenport really hasn't missed on their passes. They've been picture perfect, and it's caused them to build up this massive amount of goals that they've scored. It's only a 2-0 series lead, so still time. However, on the goal side, it's been heavily towards Davenport, partially because of those passing plays.
Yeah, it doesn't feel like they particularly miss the mark very often. And I'll keep it a buck with you, Powder. It's that sort of just consistent passing that can feel oppressive to a team, and I think that's what OCU were feeling, and part of the reason why Game 1 was somewhat, back and forth, and Game 2 was so dominant.
I'm going to see if Oklahoma City can turn things around. They want to get this game win here. You do not want to have to reverse sweep this team, especially with this offense they're playing at. Reverse sweeps in Rocket League they're not impossible to see, but they are extremely rare. We've almost seen a couple here in Varsity Premier up to this point, but they haven't completed them quite yet. So this is important for Oklahoma City to get this game back and even out this series a little bit more. However, Davenport back to their usual ways, up to the air, off the ceiling. Instead, it's a fake down towards Byra. Instead, he's playing third man. It'll be Oklahoma City on a counterattack.
Oh, I love Byra there, calling that bluff. Not going to overcommit into either direction. Bounce off of the sidewall, or rather the back wall for Byra. And that is beautiful teamwork.
And I watched this pass from Shen, and I'm waiting for the player from Oklahoma City to either, well, not necessarily even cut off the shot, just be there in the net. But it might have been a miscommunication. I mean, we didn't see either player until the last second. So, last second decision from Oklahoma City costing them dearly, and instead it's a 1-0 lead into the hands of Davenport again.
And in defense of Oklahoma City, we haven't really seen that sort of play come through from Davenport at all tonight. It's been a lot more aerial stuff, but just like that. You see, ask and you shall receive.
Davenport just continuing this domination, and Shen especially. Again, that leader for Davenport. And it's interesting because because I've gotten to see this roster before, and typically the other two players, Oman and Byra, they're more seen as that first or second man on the roster. Not that Shen is just that third man, but he usually is not the player to kind of lead the team in scoring like this. It's been incredible to see, and it's certainly a reason as to why Davenport is finding so much success today.
Well, clearly Davenport feeling loose, feeling ready to dominate, because they are doing so here. Getting down to it. Nice little bump to force that ball out wide. Tater trying to center things up. A little bit of a problem, though. Runs into a player. Shen takes the 1v1. Can't quite win the 50. And now a chance. Scoring opportunity. Shot on target. Tater not able to get there. Byra's going to play it.
Byra looking for the pass, at least, off the back wall, but instead only gives away possession to Nickel. It's a flick and catching up to it. Oh, and actually the second man didn't even need contact with it. Nickel instead gets the goal and cuts the deficit in half for OCU.
Nickel in these last two games, the only one to have any success on the scoring side of things. Got to keep it real, though. This is a lot better from Oklahoma City. Last game, this was a lot higher of a scoreline at this point in time. Not very many chances. Just one goal deficit. That can change here and now. Both players attempting to get there, but neither fast enough. And as soon as it was a 1-goal deficit, 2 now in their place.
And it looks like K-Storm just not enough boost. You could see a slow flip down as he was rotating towards the back post. And because of that, not able to catch up with the placement there on the other side of him, keeping it as far away as possible. Davenport, that accuracy for them has been almost perfect to this point. They've been finding the spots on the net where OCU is not going to catch up to. We've seen Shane do it a couple times, and now on that goal as well, we see it from Davenport. And again, just been picking apart this Stars defense as they look for more here. Shane barely getting that challenge, but it's just enough to at least hold them out of their off or defensive end for a few more seconds. Fire on the challenge, though, back the other way, gets taken off the field, and they get right into the hands of OCU.
Approaching the 2-minute mark now. We're halfway done with game number 3. Lyra to Shane into the midfield. It's going to be a 50, but a demo from Omen leaves Byra to it. Going to play the aerial. Omen up over the top, looking to play it down, but cannot quite get there. Clear away, didn't catch by who, but nonetheless, Nickel solo endeavors before around at least one player, but Shane not going to be tricked by a long shot. Byra in control, trying to serve Nickel up some of his own medicine. Not too unsuccessful. A bit of a wider angle of attack, but again, Davenport, they've not left the Oklahoma City half of the field, really.
No, not really at all, and at this point, they're pretty happy with it because although they would want more goals, obviously, to build a more comfortable lead, they are completely starving the Stars of any offense, and maybe they'll find another here, Shane on the redirect. Either way, just continuing this attack from Davenport is just, again, starving out Oklahoma City of more and more offensive opportunities. They finally break out the other way, but Shane gaining immediate control. Down behind another, a misplay, and they still cannot find the shot. Back the other way with 45 to go, and OCU still needs 2, maybe it's 3, and it is as Byra knocks one home.
Yeah, I was about to say, did Shane get a bump there? Who was this? Oh no, it was Omen. Did Omen get a bump?
Looks like he goes for it.
Oh, he does, but it didn't quite. I don't think he quite made connection. It was hard to tell, but big brain plays. That's all I'm saying. Less than 45 seconds on this clock, and 3 goals the deficit. Oklahoma City, they're in a bad way right now.
They are, at this point, needing to look for a reverse sweep against a team that they can't even really find shots against. It is a tough ask for Oklahoma City, and as much as I want to say that they have it in them, with the way that the series has gone, we haven't really seen a period other than the first minute or so of game 1 when Oklahoma City has that lead that would tell me that Oklahoma City can fully shut down the Davenport offense and build up one of their own. Davenport has been dominating them to this point, and it will lead into a, at this point, decisive game 4. They do take one for the road, so maybe that'll be some hope as they look to avoid the sweep and try to get back in the series.
By the way, interesting note here at the very end of this game is that Nickel City is the only player for Oklahoma City to score in the last 2 games. I think scored one of the couple of goals in game number 1, but it's really been the Nickel show offensively for Oklahoma City. And listen, I love watching the Nickel show. Great show. No disrespect here, but listen, you need your co-stars, and we just haven't seen those co-stars show up for the Oklahoma City roster.
Yeah, and I gotta agree with you. It doesn't feel like enough we've been able to call out the other 2 players on the side of Oklahoma City. It's just been, it really has been the Nickel show on the side of Oklahoma City, and it's unfortunate to see. This is a great roster that played a tough match against RIT. Unfortunately, again, they did lose, but they lost as a team. In that match, it didn't feel like it was the Nickel show. So unfortunately, against a team like Davenport, which I'll be quite honest, they're not as good as RIT, but they seem to be struggling more against this team. And it's interesting to see why that's happening, because it really just has been Nickel. I hope to see the other 2 players show up, but at this point, I don't know if it's going to happen enough to even get them a game win in the next game, let alone a series win.
if I could do some gandering here, I think that what we're seeing is, number one, an off day from Oklahoma City right now. That could change, but for now, it's been an off day for them. Nickel, the only one showing up, and I think Davenport, on the other hand, as you mentioned, not necessarily always the Shane show, but it certainly is today, and has been. Everybody else stepping up when necessary. So, I think two things happening at once. Davenport having a very good showing, very good individually, and whilst Oklahoma City struggling.
Certainly are struggling, and this is their season right now. They are down to their last game of the season if they don't take it. Remember, single elimination in this LCQ unless you reach round of 8. Then you have that extra life to hopefully make LCQ 2. And the winner of this will face Oakland University, and they were actually upset. So there's a tough opponent coming up for whoever takes this match. Oklahoma City, or not Oklahoma City, Oakland University was upset by East Tennessee in their conference championship. So Oakland coming in as the 3rd seed, that is going to be a tough ask for either of these teams. But with the way that Davenport is playing tonight, if they can head into tomorrow with this, assuming they pull off this match, I really do like their chances, because Oakland losing that match against East Tennessee, it's going to be a tough ask for Davenport coming into tomorrow.
Yeah, East Tennessee is actually a team I've seen a couple of times, and it's pretty cool to see them take a little bit of an upset there. Either way, we are going to be heading to a short break because, understandably, Oklahoma City want a chance to try and figure out what the heck's going wrong. We'll be back in just a couple of minutes, so don't go too far.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to NACE Star League Varsity Premier action. We're about to hop into game number 4 of Davenport University versus Oklahoma City University. And Vincent, up to this point, it hasn't really been pretty.
Nope, it's been Davenport cleaning on up pretty much the entire time. Unfortunately for Oklahoma City, because I think both you and I, we, as mentioned, we thought that Davenport would have the edge here, but very much a more dominant showing than we had anticipated. What I think is possible, though, is that Oklahoma City, they've had a chance to, take a few moments, talk things over, maybe get some coaching input. I know they have a good program over there, and hopefully fix some of the problems we've been seeing. Powder, what problems do you think they could be looking to solve?
At this point, I think the biggest thing that they can solve is finding a sustained attack. It feels like a lot that they are going to the other side of the field, kind of banging it down, and then Davenport just cleans it up and gets right back on offense. They need to find a way, whether it's passes, and I know you mentioned passes earlier too, Vincent. If Oklahoma City can find passes to one another, I think they're going to have a lot more of an offensive attack than they do right now. Unfortunately for them, the passing from Davenport has been even better, resulting in all of this offense that we're seeing, and right off the kickoff, we're seeing it again.
That we are. More of the same. OCU, though, in control now. Nice bump over the top there. Unfortunately, and this is something I've seen consistently, the plan. Like, what was the plan from OCU? They didn't have one, unfortunately. So, Davenport with a chance on goal. Byra actually nearly connected to that shot. Shane will try to center this ball up. Can't quite get there as Tater will be the one to connect. Bit of a 50 in mid. Goes to OCU. Two defenders waiting in the wings for Davenport. And we go back to midfield. Try it all again.
Davenport just finding their way back onto offense again. A pass down, this time cut off. As they try to march down to the other side of the field, Oklahoma City, they can do so successfully. And Nickel again, the first man for the Stars all night long. Not get it here, unfortunately. And again, it's just that quick spurt of offense for Oklahoma City before it's back into the hands of Davenport. Shane can't recover in time. Now it's a one-on-one. Nickel against Byra. Byra, the aggressive challenge works out successfully. Now it's into Davenport's possession once again as Omen up chasing the demolition, forced to challenge his K-Storm. Omen going for another bump, keeps it low. Shane bouncing it off the ground. Now K-Storm for a clear to midfield. Unfortunately, though, right into Byra. Uses the ceiling, looking for the double down. Instead, he just plays it to the corner, wastes a little more time.
Shane there waiting in the wings. Clear out to the midfield. Up, over, not quite far enough. It's going to be one player regaining control for a moment. Davenport back to midfield. Another 50. That one's won by OCU, and they take the lead.
And that is their first lead since, I want to say, a minute into game 1. Because they did get that first goal of the series before Davenport stormed back and took basically the rest of the series in their favor. And now with 3:02 remaining in game number 4, OCU finds themselves on top. Now it's just a matter of holding that lead and holding the offense to maybe avoid Davenport going on a counterattack to tie the game.
Just one goal, though. Not enough against Davenport, I would think. We'll have to see. All things considered. Nice center ball. Nearly connecting, but that's one of those moments where you had a chance. You need to be able to take that. But OCU could not convert. They stopped the bleeding, though, as Shane going to regain control for a moment. It's dropped right down into the middle. It's so much good defense now from Davenport. They aren't necessarily the same aggressive team that we were seeing early on, but they are absolutely stopping most of these plays.
Ooh, that shot from Davenport, though, honestly should have ended up being a goal. The placement was not where it needed to be. And Oklahoma City, that defense is being cleaned up a little bit. However, K-Storm getting chased. Shane on the reset, pushes it behind the defender and ties up the game.
Shane really had this from the very beginning. Like, what are you supposed to do if you're the defense there? Because he can literally do anything. Because he has the reset, he can do literally anything he wants. That ball could be anywhere.
And not much you can do if you are the Stars on that defensive stand. Shane again, been that first man all night long for Davenport University, leading them to where they are now. And with less than 2 minutes left, they're tied up again to try to get this done in a sweep, as it's given over towards Byra. He can't find possession, however, Omen can. Given space, a little too much space. The challenge finally comes up. Byra to Omen, shot wide, it's passed in the midfield. Byra has to cut it off again, dumps it back into the corner, gets a quick recovery, but can't make it in time. However, OCU struggling to get the other way. Shane on the challenge to midfield is favorable for some Oklahoma City offense.
Nice job from Davenport to keep control there. A chance here, and it is just not going to be enough power behind that shot. One player from OCU gets a little bit of a touch on it. We're about to pass the 1 minute mark. Over the top is Shane, but overzealous. Byra in control. Going for the aerial. And it's going to be dropped down to Shane, who continues to hold on to that control. A bit of an interesting demo. But nonetheless, Davenport still have things on lock. Nice pass play. Once again, set up. Shane has the chance. Nickel on the clear. Under 30 seconds here in just a few.
Oh, it's a freebie. Ooh. Close one there. Davenport had an opportunity to get it. Unfortunately, Shane decided to dump that one into the corner, and now still looking for something here in the final 30 seconds.
This goes to overtime. It's going to be so insane, but still, 15 or so seconds left to find this last goal. Davenport looking to close, or OCU. Opportunity to continue. Oh my goodness, Omen. That would have been brilliant. Can't quite make it there. Time ticking away. Shane in control with the last opportunity. They're just going to knock it down, and it is going to be overtime.
Davenport just one goal away from moving on in the LCQ. No CU.
Oh,
one
no!
goal away. There it is. Shane, another flip reset, wins the sweep in favor of Davenport.
Look at this. That was classy as ever from Shane. 6 seconds into overtime. That's all Davenport needed. Nothing else necessary whatsoever. And a brilliant showing here in the opening rounds of the LCQ. An unfortunate loss, though, for OCU.
Yeah, Davenport, just the domination that they had throughout that series was incredible. I mean, both you and I predicted Davenport to win tonight. However, neither of us expected this dominating sweep from Davenport. The amount of goals that they poured on early in the series was incredible. And although OCU made it close there in the end, it just was not enough to stop that offense.
I don't know what you're talking about. I clearly expected all the domination. No, I'm just kidding. Yeah, it's impressive. I think that Davenport are an incredibly good program. I think that they are really strong, but this is a level of strong that I don't think we could have anticipated. Nonetheless, Shane comes out and has an incredible game. I think that if Shane isn't playing as well as he is, this is probably a very different game, especially considering how close OCU kept that last game. Because, I mean, to talk about that a little bit, what do you think changed? Like, what were OCU doing better in that final game?
It felt like they were able to break out of Davenport's offensive half. They found more passing plays to one another to get the other way, and it resulted in Davenport slipping up a little bit defensively to get that goal in for Oklahoma City to gain the lead. Davenport, they didn't seem to have the same pressure that they did. That was because of the clears that Oklahoma City were able to find, resulted in less pressure, but unfortunately just not enough pressure of their own on offense to build up a comfortable enough lead to get the win.
Yeah, and well, prior to that, nothing was comfortable at all. You were Oklahoma City, but nonetheless, I think congratulations to Davenport. As mentioned, you know they do take the victory tonight, but they are walking into a tough matchup. Hopefully, when we talk to, I think we're going to get to talk to Shane. So hopefully, maybe we can ask him about that and what the ideas for those matchups are. But a good start for this team in their LCQ run.
Certainly is, and we do have the interview ready, so we're going to be talking with Shane, and like you said, Vincent, I'm excited to get to talk to Shane. So, Shane, how you doing tonight?
Good, man. How are you?
I mean, okay, let's not beat around the bush a little bit. Shane and I, we know each other. So, I mean, my first question is, I've seen you guys play as a roster before, and you don't tend to be that first man for Davenport. Were you just kind of popping off tonight, or how were you feeling? Because you led the way for Davenport to completely crush Oklahoma City.
I mean, nothing there was really planned. Like, we just kind of went to the game, played a little bit of ranked before, and what was working, I guess. I mean, we just looked for each other. The ball happened to come to me, and to be completely honest, like, behind the scenes, Omen is, like, one of the best enablers here. So, I mean, Omen, it's hats off to him every time we play, so...
Well, I mean, you guys definitely had a great start to this LCQ run, but let's continue to talk about this LCQ run because things don't get easier. You're headed into Oakland. That's going to be tomorrow. Do you know that team, and are you prepared?
I mean, of course we know Oakland. I mean, you know, they're one of the heavy hitters around here, so we're as prepared as we're going to be. I mean, we're going to show up, we're going to play our game, and I mean, we always play our best games against the teams that really press us. So, I mean, we're expecting a high-paced game. We're expecting to be challenged, and I will bet you we'll give them a run for their money.
Okay, and what do you think what's the realistic showing here? Is this Davenport team going all the way? Are y'all headed into the playoffs via this LCQ slot?
Well, I mean, I don't want to jinx anything. I mean, we can only go one goal, one game at a time. I mean, it's tonight we looked really, really good. I'm expecting a different level of competition tomorrow. And then obviously, as you said, it doesn't get easier after that. So, I mean, we'll see. Only time will tell, right?
And one final question for you, Shane. Do you have any shout-outs or people you want to give a shout-out to for tonight?
Shout out to my teammates, Omen and Byra. They're the GOATs. Shout out our director, Graham, and then everybody else back at Davenport that's working hard, and you guys for putting this on for us. So thank you.
Fantastic. Well, thanks for joining us, and have a great rest of your night.
Yeah, you too, guys. Thank you.
Well, that does it for us, Vincent. We had a short and sweet day today, just one single match, and it was a 4-0. It was quite literally the fastest it could be, besides the Game 4 overtime. But either way, so that will do it for us. But of course, we do have Super Smash Bros. After this. But before we even get into that, we have this fantastic giveaway to tell you guys about. ROTC is back with another collegiate camo giveaway. Be sure to check out the chat and Nace Star League Twitter to enter a chance to win both a PlayStation 5 controller and this perfect Herschel Little America Backpack Pro. Army ROTC, be a leader. Vincent, I was talking to Sepulence about this last week. This is a nice looking backpack.
Yeah, I was actually talking to Seymour, who does the COD stuff for Nace, and he was talking up the backpack. So I took some looking, and I'm thinking I'm gonna be entering. I don't know if that's like against the rules. I'm gonna have to check, but I'm definitely interested. We'll put it that way.
Oh, certainly. Supplements and I are too. We're gonna try to stay away from it. We'll let the fans have a chance, and maybe you have a chance at it. But it's a great looking backpack. But that will be it for us tonight from Vincent and I. Be sure again to stick around because we do have Super Smash Bros. Coming up after this, some more LCQ action. But until then, we'll see you guys around, and we'll see you tomorrow.
best idea of what he's actually capable of. And, you know, that second stock that he had against Woodchuck Man was actually pretty clean. And we're seeing right now 130% just added on, unanswered into an F smash.
Round from the beginning of the season.
Yeah, you get a little hopeful, you get a little excited, and then they defy all expectations. They come in here and they start to dominate Lackawanna, one of the best teams in their division. This is an incredible performance, but Aoka with a great steal of their own. I can't wait to watch the replay on this.
Around in the last second, T-Bam 3 kills, might I add to that one. This time ISO's gonna open up and just in behind, he slays out onto 2. Backline of Churching Steve player number 1 looking to hunt him down, but he just can't win it out. ISO frying on Tuscan.
Advon already down to half HP with a well-placed rail. The grab misses again.
Who's going to be able to take up? But look at this. It's good finding both supports again. Chaco Man is well. This is going to be it. It's good show here on King's Row. So
I've this before, but it looks like not everyone was there immediately. I don't know that they're going to be here fast. Diego's got the ult and smite in the pit immediately.
where's the TP? Oh, look at the back line. That combination. Amumu Akali. It's a triple kill. It's not the quadrant. The godlike Lucy instead.
With the help of Purple Panda. Flash out and they get rid of Sammy. Nice shot there from Doug downfield. And Jug's going to double down into the situation, so Western looking to look for 11 right now. Bomb's going to be hurt. Doug's going to straight transfer Bleens too, so...
Might have lost down on Aryan there in that first map. Swapped in Kinmeister, but I'm loving the aggression that we're seeing. Kinmeister with the quad kill on the anti-eco.
Welcome back, everybody, to the NACE Star League 2022 fall season as the last chance qualifier for Super Smash Bros. Ultimate Cruise continues here on a Friday night here, Mies. The first time, I think, of the season. We're getting some Friday night Smash, and we're getting two teams that are trying to stay alive in the postseason. Mies, how you doing here tonight, man?
I am doing great. Honestly, ain't nothing better than watching some Smash Bros on a Friday night, like you said. Yes, we have two teams, St. Ambrose, who we actually saw yesterday, unfortunately, take an L to Oakland, and the University of Guam, who we haven't yet seen on the broadcast, but they made it this far. So obviously, they are a very solid team. I always like seeing teams that we haven't been able to see before. Looking at the roster right now for Guam quickly, Caps 2, Trix, Premium, Volt 43, and Mitro. I think, is this the first out of US team we've gotten on broadcast up until this point?
Well, isn't Guam technically part of the U.S. Maybe not the
Canadian.
Continental? Yeah. So I'm pretty sure Guam is part of the U.S.,
Canadian.
but not a state, not continental United States. But yes, that's actually, I think, going to play a big part into this because you have Guam versus a school that's in Iowa. So these two teams here, like you all know, St. Ambrose, and then we have Caps 2, Trix, Mitro, and Volt 43. You might also see Premium potentially. Yeah, so I would have to imagine that there's going to be quite a difference in connection between these two teams because Guam and Iowa are incredibly far from one another.
Yeah.
So, and I believe one of the players on an interview yesterday was even
Spectral.
talking about that. That's something that you have to kind of keep in mind as you go farther into this, is that the schools are no longer playing in conference anymore. And in fact, I just Googled it. From Guam to Iowa is about 11,500 kilometers.
Golly.
So,
oh my goodness.
And if you travel by air, it would be like 7,000 miles. So these teams are going to be fighting not just each other, but the Wi-Fi connection. And of course, for St. Ambrose, you've seen them yesterday. You already know them. But if you don't, Albie Fresh, Big Boy, Blueby, and Balon Pants. And that is going to be a Byleth. We also know Big Boy plays Nest. Blueby was playing Bayonetta, and then Balon Pants was playing Greninja and Zelda. So here we go.
And that thing you just mentioned about the Wi-Fi, this is going to play a big factor because looking at the University of Guam's team right now, I see a potential Banjo, a potential Steve, and a potential Cloud. 3 characters, well, maybe not Cloud as much, but Banjo and Steve, most definitely characters who thrive in the Wi-Fi environment. For those who don't know, Super Smash Bros. Ultimate has about 12 frames of input lag on Wi-Fi, which, you know, you definitely can get used to, but there are certain characters that do benefit greatly from it. Banjo and Steve probably being 2 of the biggest beneficiaries of of the environment. And on the other side, like you said, there's Big Boy who plays Ness, you know, decent Wi-Fi character too. Zelda, obviously really good. Bayonetta, kind of on Wi-Fi, you know, but Byleth, you know, pretty okay on Wi-Fi too. But that's going to be a really big factor, and I'm really interested to see how this plays going forward into the season as schools are just getting further and further and further and further away from each other. Like you said, like you're no longer in conference. You might be in New Jersey playing a team from like Seattle or something like that, literally across the country, or in this case, like you said, like 11,000 kilometers away, which I can't even like imagine in my brain right now. So it's gonna be cool to see if that does play a factor and how both the teams adapt to that.
Yeah, absolutely. I think we have our predictions below here, which are, at least we're both on Team Guam here for tonight.
Yeah.
And I think it comes from a number of things. At least for me, University of Guam was 5-1 in the regular season. And they didn't have a super strong postseason run so far. They dropped immediately in the conference playoffs to Lubbock Christian University, and then they lost to Full Sail University in the last chance qualifier round 1. But just based off that regular season record, I think they're on paper kind of the stronger team. We have seen St. Ambrose before though, and they did lose to Oakland, one of the strongest teams here in the NACE Star League. This is definitely a button check. So I mean, I can't hold St. Ambrose too hard on that. Like, there are a lot of teams that would have lost to Oakland, so I don't necessarily think that there's a strong favorite in this matchup. But I think if we're going to look at which team might be stronger just coming into this, I think University of Guam, just off that regular season record and their character selection here, might end up being what puts them just over the edge here against St. Ambrose.
Either way, Blubby off to a really hot start, a quick
73%. I guess this is not a button check. Oh, I guess they were lag testing. They were lag testing, yeah.
Going right into, well, I hope they're going right into it, because if not, Cap 2 is kind of getting bodied right now. Blubby already with 123% over on Caps 2's Incineroar. Again, with Bayonetta, this is the problem with Bayonetta and Ultimate. They will get you to 123, but we're probably gonna see Blubby actually struggle to get a KO. And the thing about Incineroar is that character does not struggle to get KOs at all. When you're above 80%, you're basically in range of an Alolan Whip, sometimes even a cross chop if you're a lighter character. So we're probably gonna see at this point in time, unless Blubby gets a good Gimp, Caps 2's probably gonna inch their way back into this game.
And so far, they certainly have. They're only down by 40. Oh, and the whiff on the up smash. Oh, and then the whiff on the forward smash. That could be played into that connection right there. And Cap's still alive as a result at 150. Luby now trying to recover. Gets up with the roll-in on the ledge. The grab again whipped by Caps 2, who gets taken out by the Nair. And that should be it for this Incineroar. But Blue Beast goes down anyway. So both players trade, and it's tied up 2-2.
You know, there's times where like analysis can't even really tell you what happened. That was just spaghetti on the highest degree there from Blubby. Just unfortunately not able to make it back to the stage. And like you said, maybe a bit of lag. Oh wow, that down smash with Revenge is kind of crazy. But yeah, maybe that lag, you know, from these schools being this far apart is playing a factor. And that kind of goes into why I thought Guam was going to win. Them being so far, they're used to this. This is their environment. They're used to connections maybe not necessarily being the best, and they're 5-1, made it this far regardless. And yeah, that's definitely going to get the KO. That Alolan Whip going to do it. So I really think Guam has a really big advantage in this game. And again, just look at the roster again. They have a bunch of Wi-Fi characters, which is going to play a factor into it as well. But Caps 2 does have to finish this up before we even talk about the rest of those characters, and they are doing very well up to this point, Dev.
Absolutely. And Bayo, I mean, like you mentioned earlier, Bayo, a character that normally doesn't do super well on Wi-Fi. You're sticking out a lot of long hitboxes that can be whiff punished, especially if you can't get that accuracy you would on land or with a better connection. Meanwhile, Incineroar has big buttons, but also like a character that can, you know, can take some hits as long as they're not getting thrown off stage too much, and can win in those scrappy scramble situations. Dash attack, of course, one of those great assets in those situations. And that'll be a nice little 2-stock for Caps 2 to kick things off for a University of Guam lead.
I think we mentioned this when we saw St. Ambrose yesterday, that Bayonetta isn't necessarily the greatest lead character. You want your lead character to be someone who is a really good stock taker, Bayonetta, I think, is a good cleanup character if they're going to throw them in against someone who has like a stock left or something just to kind of clean that up. But your lead, you want your lead to be a character that is good at taking stocks. Incineroar, fantastic at taking stocks, a really solid lead character. And I'm looking at the University of Guam's roster too. Like Chrom also would have been a really good lead. Cloud also would have been a really good lead. And I'm looking at St. Ambrose. They have Byleth, solid at taking stocks, but once you lose that Byleth, they're kind of stuck with Ness and Greninja and Bayonetta, who are all characters that are just all relatively light, don't have much survivability, all could get gimped, relative. I don't want to say easily, but if you eat Bayonetta's jump, then that up B and that side B aren't really enough to get back to stage. So yeah, again, it's looking at these rosters, man. With the Wi-Fi, with now Bayonetta being your lead character again for St. Ambrose, man, this is looking really good for University of Guam right now.
Yeah, I really think it does come back, like you said, to the character choices. And I think this is what we really talked about with St. Ambrose last night against Oakland, is that their character roster might be holding them back. And when they went up against Oakland, they were taking on Lucinas, Kens, Wolves, Kazuya's, right?
Yeah.
Like, these are all very meta characters. And then you go over to, St. Ambrose, Bayonetta, underrated, I think, but not super meta. They have a Ness and a Byleth Great. Greninja and Zelda, again, might be a bit underrated, but not super meta characters either. And even Byleth and Ness can kind of get, matchup checked kind of hard. Obviously, we saw the Ness getting matchup checked against the Lucina, something that, Ness just kind of struggles in overall. So I think with Guam, you're looking at this roster. Sure, Incineroar is kind of an outlier, but we had Caps 2, who is a very strong one. And then you have a potentially, Chrom and Joker or Cloud or a Steve waiting in the wings for you. You can lead off with the Incineroar, and in fact, it might even behoove you to do so. If that Incineroar gets a bunch of stocks, then it makes the stronger character's job that much easier later in the game.
And you also have 3 characters on University of Guam who would all make really good anchors. Trix with the Chrom, very good anchor in my opinion. Cloud, same thing, and we all know how good Steve is. If we do end up seeing Maestro the Steve, we all know how good those characters are. So we have 3. You have Banjo, who's kind of in the middle.
Might see a Banjo,
kind of in that vein of Bayonetta, where maybe they're a good cleanup character. If they want, someone has 1 stock left, you might want to throw in a Banjo to kind of just throw them off a little bit, but then you do get counterpicked. But yeah, talking about the rest of the roster, you have 3 characters, Chrom, Cloud, and Steve, who no matter where in the lineup you throw them, they're gonna thrive. Whether that's cleanup, whether that's anchor, whether that's someone to just maybe build a lead, a bit further. I'm really liking what I'm seeing from Guam's character selection. And yeah, I don't want to keep repeating about Ambrose's roster, but it is definitely a bit of a hitch for very talented players. But sometimes it really just does come down to your characters, as we do see Balon Pants with the Zelda. We did see them yesterday as well, doing very, very well. Before this match begins, please, everybody, join our Super Team page today for Extra Life. Click on the banner below for more information as we get into this game number 2. Caps 2 with 2 stocks left up against Balon Pants at the Zelda, who again played pretty well yesterday, if I'm remembering correctly. But man, with the way Caps 2 was playing right now, I don't think it matters how well Balon Pants was playing yesterday.
Yeah, Balon Pants was definitely one of their stronger players, and was really, I think, the only player on their team that did switch between 2 characters when it was necessary, between the Greninja and the Zelda. So having a little bit of that extra sense to their team, it's certainly a positive. But Caps 2 right now is going crazy positive, and gonna call out that hang at the ledge for what was an excruciating amount of time, finally does so. And then Caps getting so much off that entry, rising forward air, able to convert that into a lot of grabs, a lot of command grabs as well, and hasn't really seemed very, worried at all about entering on Zelda. I love that, calling out the Phantom Knight with the revenge. All right, you're going to have to think twice about using one of your best tools now, because that's going to give me a free damage boost. Caps 2 gets caught out that time, but looks to revenge the Din's Fire, whips that as well, and then gets hit back by the Phantom, and now it's up to Balloon Pants to try to get in and do some damage, but again, it's Alolan whipped off the stage. And how do they get back on? They go for the platform, and the up smash comes out. Caps 2 now extending this lead even further.
Now 1 stock away from taking out 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, with only losing 1 potentially. And with the way that Caps is playing right now, I would not be shocked if they get out of this with both of these stocks, if they manage to make it back. Yes, they do. They do have to avoid those Phantoms, though. Balon Pants is really letting those Phantoms rip, and they're not working super well. That one did. And at the same time, Caps 2, we're seeing a lot of Alolan whips come out. Whether he's whiffing them or whether they're hitting, they keep going for them. And right now, there's another one right on cue. And Balon Pants just never was able to deal with it. Was never really able to deal with it. The few Alolan whips that Caps did miss weren't because full-on like avoided them or spaced anything out. I think it was just, you know, pulling the trigger a little bit too early or a little bit too late there, and it really felt like Caps, that was 2 matches already. Wow, Caps 2 is just absolutely burning through this team right now. Still has 2 stocks on absolute fire, and now again looking at the roster, Byleth and Ness are left. Both of those can go very poorly, in my opinion. I lean towards going Byleth here. I think if you want to send out Ness against Incineroar, you're going to get revenge every time you hit PK Fire, but you can go very, very poorly for Ness. Byleth can kind of do a bit of a spacing out, as we see that disgusting Alolan Whip. He went for like 15 of them in that match. But yeah, I am leaning towards Albie and Byleth right now until Caps 2 is gone at least. But yeah, it's not looking good for them. We might be seeing a 12 stock in the making here, Dad.
I mean, we'll see if we get that far, but Caps took that one without dropping a single stock, right? Lost only 1 stock on the first matchup, didn't drop any on the second one, and just was mostly outplaying their opponent, right?
Yeah.
Like, just had a lot better game sense, was staying in advantage. I mean, Incineroar has a strong advantage state once you get in there, but I think just that revenge usage was so crucial, right? Like, you essentially respond to Din's Fire and the Phantom almost every single time, and without approaching, right? That's such a great asset for him. And then just noticing that, okay, this Zelda's shielding and spot dodging a lot, I'm going to go for a Alolan Whip and cover that with that big hitbox that's active for a while. So, as you mentioned, we do have Albie Fresh coming in with the Byleth, and hopefully this Byleth gets a little Duncan in them, because they need to run on some Duncan, and Nate Star League also runs on Duncan. Be sure to check them out and get yourself what you need to keep moving forward. That's what Albie Fresh needs right now. St. Ambrose University down 4 stocks in what seems like a match that really just started here, Muse.
Yeah, like it's shocking to me that we're already on match 3, and it's been like what, maybe 20 minutes since we started this, which is pretty quick for a crew battle here. And right now, Caps 2 looking to keep that momentum going. I do like the pick of Byleth over the Nest. Oh no, you're crazy. Okay. You know what? Maybe I don't. Maybe I don't like the pick. Maybe the pick doesn't matter. Maybe Caps 2 is just so good the pick doesn't matter. Because when you're landing Alolan Whips off stage like that, it doesn't matter what character you're using. You're going to be dead no matter what. Wow.
Yeah, really. I think I feel like that's what a lot of these players are feeling, is becoming death whatever, no matter what. And Caps going off stage as well, gets back with the cross chop. Again, another dark area comes out, and then the Alolan Whip, the good idea was there, but just the timing was off on that spot dodge response. Back air, not gonna land. But look at that. I love the pressure. Like, Caps 2 just like is throwing aerials out just outside of the range of these players, and the second they drop shield or they hold shield, as long, to avoid a second aerial, the Alolan Whip comes out and it kills.
It really seems like they're getting it, as we finally see Caps 2 lose that second stock. It really seems like Caps is getting those Alolan Whips like whenever they want to, man. I wish I can go back and watch this entire match and just get a count of when he hit and when he misses, because I really feel like he's shooting like 75% with those Alolan Whips right now. But right now, Albie, with a bit of momentum, has 65% on Caps right now. One good hit is going to be able to take this stock. That hit wasn't going to be it. We're going to see Caps 2 manage to make it back. Oh, I thought that was going to be an SD there from Albie. Nice. One more Alolan Whip. Are they going to go off stage? He dropped it. Wait, what happened there?
I think they might have been looking, I guess, for the stage bounce there, but I'm not entirely sure. Ooh, that comes in. Oh, they almost got carried off by the platform too. And gonna get sniped. That's an unfortunate end there for Caps, who might have been able to take another stock, but that Alolan Whip just does not work out. The one before that was hot too, because that was right off the empty jump. Was hitting a lot of these revenges, and on the Lariat was a great tool to use against the range from Byleth, because you can stay alive and not give up stage control or neutral, because you can take the hit, and Revenge does the same thing as well. So really well done there by Caps, taking out a bunch of stocks for their squad, taking out what was that?
8, I think?
7 or 8 stocks, I believe. Yeah. So I mean that's a pretty. I believe it was 8, because I think there's 4 left for this squad. So
yeah.
A big run for Caps with Incineroar of all characters, and I mean, if their starter is that good, yeah, it's definitely gonna be 8 stocks. They have 1 left, so if their starter is that good, what does the rest of this team have to offer?
Like, we still have a Chrom waiting. Again, a character who does not struggle to take stocks at all. Cloud, a character who does not struggle to take stocks either. 2 Swordies. Banjo, who can kind of struggle to take stocks, but does force their opponent to make a lot of mistakes, just based on the fact that Banjo's a very annoying character, and that can force people to, maybe get over aggressive, push buttons when they're not supposed to, and then all it takes is one good forward smash from Banjo to lose your stock at a relatively early percent. You have Mitro, Steve as well, who might be coming off the bench. So no matter where they go here, I think they're in a good spot. Caps 2 base, I don't want to say like won the game or anything, but Caps 2 put them in such a good position that they don't even have to play well necessarily in order to win the game. They just kind of have to stay the course. But in terms of predictions, they really can go either way. Either of their 4 people left, I don't think is a bad choice here.
I think you're almost even underselling the Banjo here. When I think of a Wi-Fi cheesy character,
oh, you know what?
I think of Banjo for sure, right? Because number 1, Wonder Wing, you're gonna get hit by it. They've got 15 shots, and in a land situation where you can react to like picking up grenades or avoiding eggs, in this situation it's a little bit harder, and you might end up taking a lot more hits than you would anticipate. And then you might get grabbed a little bit more, and Banjo gets in there and looks for a follow-up off down throw. I think Wonder Wing is, as I mentioned, going to be the biggest thing to deal with. That's going to be a nuisance. So I'm not underselling. I don't think anyone should be underselling this roster lineup at all, because sure, they have the Crom Joker and like Cloud and Steve, but like that Banjo could be the weak, not the weak link, but the perceived weak link that's essentially just as much of a threat as the others. We just saw an Incineroar do extremely well here. So I mean, Banjo could definitely put up numbers too.
And honestly, that's a really good point about Wonder Wing that I just completely forgot about. If everybody on St. Ambrose was getting hit by that many Alolan Whips, I would imagine they're going to get hit by just as many Wonder Wings. Similar frame data. Obviously, Wonder Wing's range is a lot better. But, similar, a bit slow to start, but once it hits very, very hard. But on the minus side, you only have 5 of them per stock. You can't recover them unless you lose your stock. So that might be a factor. So I do think actually sending in Banjo, now that I think about it, might not necessarily be a bad choice. Just to take out 1 stock, you get them to 30-40%, just start spamming side B. You can do quite a bit with that, get a couple of eggs off stage and get a good gimp. So I'm thinking Banjo might not necessarily be a bad pick. I think Crom and Cloud are going to be a lot safer though. Same with Steve, if they do go that route. But like I said earlier, I feel like no matter which way they go, Caps 2 put them in such a good position where they can kind of afford to play with their food a little bit.
I think you're definitely right. I think Guam now has a lot of breathing room to work with. As we jump into our next matchup, I'm thinking we're going to see tricks on either Crom or Joker here. And it's a Rob. I hear a Rob, and Rob is a Volt 43 is a Rob. Okay, so I think you had mentioned that they might be a Cloud.
Yeah.
I actually couldn't find what character they would play, so as both players are checking out the connection, seeing how it's feeling, and I love how that involves like the Byleth doing like not super technical stuff, but just like fooling around the ledge, and then just Rob Nair's staying in place.
What other move do you need if you're Rob?
What other move do you need? Yeah, no, you're totally right. So here we go. Looks like both players are good to go on this, and St. Ambrose down by 5 stocks thanks to Caps 2's Incineroar. Now it's up to Volt 43 to extend that lead a little bit, or at least maintain it, because once again, we know the old cruise way. You can start trading out stocks at this point, especially with a 5-stock lead. All you got to do is at least take out this Byleth, I think, and Volt has really done their job.
Man, the amount of Nairs that both of these players are going for, Albi especially, is crazy. But you know what? Volt hasn't really been able to deal with the Nair yet, so hey, just keep pulling the trigger until they figure out what to do about it. But yeah, you know what? Albi playing okay up until this point, has a 24% or so lead. Volt really, you don't have to get out of this without losing a stock, but you would like to. You don't want to give the other team any momentum going forward because, hey, we have seen 5-stock comebacks before. It's definitely not out of the realm of possibility as we do see Volt make it back to the stage right there. One good opening here for this Rob is going to do it as we do see them trying to fish for that forward smash. Volt's playing Volt's playing very, very defensively and very, very safe. Right? I do think...
oh, no.
On the second... Wait. Did they parry the first... Wait, what the heck? Parry the first hit, hit by the second hit?
Yep, parried the first hit. That's the hit that will like guarantee you the kill off the down throw at higher percents, and then the second hit of the up smash ended up landing. Yeah, you were talking about them playing a more defensive play style, like exactly what Volt needed to do, because at the beginning of the stock they were kind of getting shellacked a little bit, kind of just getting bodied, and then once they slowed it down, just did these fadeaway nairs, played a lot more gyro and laser play, and then just let the kill come to them. It was almost nothing, Albi could really do in this situation. And then, parry the first hit, up smash on the second one. That's Rob for you. And now 3 stocks left for St. Ambrose. Already in this game 1, they are looking on the brink of the first game of their potentially last match of the season. And so far, things are not off to a hot start for them.
Yeah, University trying to speed run this whole entire match and, you know, you can get home before 11. Right now, Big Boy only has, Big Boy's the only person left. They have the Ness. Ness on Rob is, I think, a very volatile matchup. Two characters that I think could absolutely destroy each other. Obviously, Rob being a heavy, very easy to combo. Ness is a very good combo character. But Ness sometimes struggling to land and not having the greatest offstage game, to put it very nicely. Rob can definitely take advantage of that. So if Big Boy does have a secondary, I think you might want to do it now just for, you know, defensive purposes, because of how volatile this matchup is. But hey, the thing is, even if Big Boy does end up winning, you still have a Chrom to deal with, still have potentially a Banjo to deal with, still have potentially a Steve to deal with, which are all three characters who I feel like, maybe not necessarily Banjo, but all characters I feel like Ness can struggle against. So quite the hill here for Big Boy and everyone else on St. Ambrose. I don't want to count them out just yet because we have seen some crazy things happen this 2022 season, but I'm starting to be comfortable, you know, thinking that Guam is going to take this first game.
By the way, you're talking about, you know, trying to get out of here quickly, you know, that it's late. Guam is it's 11:30 in the morning for them.
Oh, they just woke up.
Saturday. They're well rested actually. It's Iowa, you know, St. Ambrose. It's 8:30 p.m. for them. They're an hour behind us, right, in the East on the EST time zone. Guam they're in the future right now. So I mean, not to make, you know, I'm not being super serious about it, but at the same time, they did get a full night's sleep. Like, they are able to come into this maybe a bit more refreshed as opposed to St. Ambrose, who might have just had, you know, classes all day or, you know, whatever it is, and then now they're jumping into matches later at night. So I would not be surprised if, you know, that kind of, it's the difference between playing, you know, day 2 pools at a major, you know, at 2 p.m. versus 8 or 10 p.m., which, you know, some of us, myself included, have been there before. So yeah, I think that could be a big, you know, player into this. Players wise, you have Big Boy and Blonde Pants left. I think right now you put out I'm sorry, you have Big Boy as the last player, right? They're only last player. So I was about to say, yeah, you put out Big Boy in the nest, then realize,
Lucas,
that's their only option. It's Lucas, though, yeah.
You know, similar characters. Similar characters have a lot of the same stuff, but they do look for different things. Before we get started, ROTC become a leader for life. So shout outs to them for helping make this tournament possible. But yeah, Lucas and Ines, the PK boys, as a lot of people like to call them, both want to zone you out. Both grapplers. Obviously, Lucas has the tether. PK Fire works a little bit differently. It's more of a kill move than a combo starter. I feel like Lucas is a very underrated character too. I feel like this character can absolutely put the hands on you if you're unfamiliar with the matchup, which I feel like most people probably aren't. And Lucas can actually do relatively well against Rob as well if you do manage to land a couple of nairs. Not much Rob can do about it, being such a big body. But the problem is getting in, which Lucas can sometimes struggle with. You do have the Zaire, that grab in midair, which can help you out a bit. But beyond that, because you're so small and so stubby, you might struggle to get in, and we might see Volt run away with this if they're able to take advantage of that. There's the
Nair is going to land there. Yeah, that little bit of range that Lucas does have is going to work out with that move. And again, crossing up, gets the landing. PK Fire will whiff. Big Boy not slowing it down as much. Obviously, doesn't want to be at too far of a range so that their lasers a lot easily side magnet. Yeah, you don't want to get that absorbed.
Should be a stock. Oh no, it's not. Okay,
timing's off there. I think for those situations, we have to expect that the leniency you might get with a better connection just isn't there. Like that timing, you might just want to play better. You know, better to play safer than sorry. Oh, Volt went for the up smash, and that might have killed if it connected, but it gets stifled out. And then the arm rotor, right off the ledge, doesn't even need to confirm into it. Just goes for the raw side B, and it lands. So now Big Boy down to their last 2 stocks. St. Ambrose with a magnificent mountain to climb here if they have any chance to get back into this.
And you know what? Yeah, if Volt wants to win, you have to take stocks just like that. Off stage, Lucas and Ness both struggle. That PK Freeze definitely would have KO'd if it hit. Lucas and Ness both struggle off stage, both very exploitable. Lucas a little bit less so because of that tether. That should have been a forward smash, actually, or an up smash right there. But they kind of whiffed it again. Maybe that was a bit of a misinput or a bit of connection thing, but you probably could have confirmed that into something. But hey, either way, Volt looking like they're going to run away with this right now. Already has Big Boy at 66% on the second stock. That back throw not gonna not quite going to do it. Rob being a bit of a big body, but the up air is definitely going to do it. Lucas using that big head of theirs to take it. But man, already at 66%, 2 stocks left on your team. All Volt has to do, jeez, playing with fire there. All Volt has to do is just stay the course at this point.
Oh, and Volt going for it all right there, but the nair into the arm rotor doesn't land. Has the gyro out, and that big damage off that fully charged laser gets the dash attack to continue to put them off stage. As Lucas having some trouble getting in now on Rob, which in this matchup should not be too surprised with, as Volt is once again playing a much more defensive game and then calls out the jump from the ledge with an up smash, and now St. Ambrose down to their final stock. It's up to Big Boy to do a big boy of a job. Volt 43 has 2 stocks. University of Guam has another 6 to go, and Big Boy has just 1 left to bring this back with.
I'm really shocked we're not seeing Big Boy utilize the Zair anymore. That's one of Lucas's best tools for getting in. Gives them a little bit of range right there. Rob can kind of, without gyro, Rob can kind of struggle to deal with it at times if you space it out properly. And I don't think we've really seen any Zairs come out. We're seeing a lot of approaching forward airs, like we've seen right there, a lot of approaching nairs. Even run up down tilt is not a terrible option either because of how fast down tilt is on Lucas. But yeah, we're seeing a lot of the same approaches here from Big Boy, and I think Volt has become privy to it and hasn't really been able to. Big Boy hasn't really been able to hit anything. As he do manage to get that grab in that forward throw, looking for that PK freeze, a very good move that can't KO you very early. But man, you probably needed to land a couple of those about 30 seconds ago if you wanted a chance to win this match. Right now, Volt 43 already has Big Boy at 83%. At this point, it's really just a matter of time before I think we're going to be calling this first game of reps.
I think you're about right there, Mies. It is looking dire for St. Ambrose. I mean, if Big Boy can take this stock here, it might be doable, but they're at 100%, and Volt just really needs to start hitting buttons to make that percent go their way. We'll kill off the up air. Oh, actually, not nearly enough. I think that might have been enough. The air dodge comes out, and that is, of all ways to go after all of that. Big Boy air dodges off the buffer, I'd have to imagine. And it is University of Guam, that jumps in for their first game of the series and just 1 game away now from surviving the last chance qualifier.
And yeah, that start from Caps 2's Incineroar, that won them the game at that point. Like that, after they got 8 stocks, I really feel again it was a matter of time before they won. And just looking at rosters again, I feel like just matchup-wise, University of Guam's character pool just matches up very well against St. Ambrose, and this kind of goes back to what we talked about yesterday in regards to St. Ambrose. 4 very talented players who I really think are a little bit held back by their pool of characters, though each of these characters individually is very solid. Bayonetta, Byleth, Ness/Lucas, Greninja, and Zelda, all very solid on Wi-Fi. I feel like just as a team, as a collective, because each of those characters minus Byleth is just so inconsistent, I really do think like their roster is kind of holding them back a bit, but we will see if they can kind of turn the tide here and gain some momentum. After this quick break, we'll have Game 2 between University of Guam and St. Ambrose. Let's see if Ambrose can make some adjustments here. We'll be back soon. Hello, everybody, and welcome back. We have the LCQs for the NACE 2022 fall season underway, and we just witnessed a very quick Game 1 between St. Ambrose University and the University of Guam. We saw Caps 2, the Incineroar, just decimate 8 stocks off the jump for University of Guam, and they never really looked back from that point out. St. Ambrose, we kind of saw the same similar thing happen yesterday. Their match was a bit closer, but again, I feel like their character roster just kind of let them down a bit. But we do know who's going to be starting game number 2. We're going to have Trix the Roy up against Albi Fresh the Byleth, and if I'm not mistaken, we saw a similar thing from St. Ambrose yesterday. They lost game 1 and then went to Byleth to start game 2, and that kind of runs into an issue where Byleth is really your only character that's consistent on your team. Bayonetta obviously struggles to get KOs. Ness can struggle to get KOs, but oftentimes is pretty okay. But just looking at the roster, I feel like everybody on Guam does well against Ness. Greninja can struggle to get KOs. Zelda can struggle to get KOs. Byleth, again, is really your only consistent character. So you run the risk if you lose Albi first, you just have 3 inconsistent characters left, and that's unfortunate, especially since Guam really has 5 characters here that really don't struggle to get KOs.
No, I think you're right there. I mean, we saw Caps 2 get 8 kills on their own as Incineroar. I figure like maybe St. Ambrose wishes they had gotten Big Boy out there against Caps because Ness does a pretty solid job against Incineroar. But yeah, I mean, Rob and Cloud, Steve, like these are even Banjo, Roy can even be an issue. But like these are characters that can outrange Ness a lot of the time and just make it a nuisance because Ness historically just a bad character against Swordies. And as we see those 2 rosters real quick, we're going to be jumping into game 1. It will be Trix versus Albi Fresh to start things off as we get onto small battlefield. Roy versus Byleth, and they're going to check out their connection before we jump into it.
Yeah, because these schools are so far away, they are going to do about a 10-15 second button check at the beginning just to make sure that everything is good. And we are going to begin. Man, Roy on small battlefield, not sure what a really brought Roy here. This is one of Roy's really good stages because of things just like that. You can get carried from platform to platform and juggled from here until tomorrow, and you don't really have any room to run if you're Byleth. And you really can't deal with the speed that Roy has sometimes. If you're Byleth, I would have liked to really go to a bigger stage, maybe a Town and City, maybe a Kalos if that's legal, something like that, because you don't want to give Roy, close quarters. But hey, you know what? Either way, Albi doing relatively well up until, doing very well after that unfortunate SD from Trix, and that is exactly what they needed. I believe that is the first lead we've actually seen from St. Ambrose today. But hey, you know what? They're going to need to do everything to hang on to it because of how good Guam has been playing up until this point.
It's unfortunate we're seeing so much go through with these, I guess, hurt here by these buffered air dodges, right? Like, it's not the first time we've seen that in this set so far. You're right, this is St. Ambrose's first lead, and it is off of Trix, who we didn't see last game. Still keeping it, close, and really would have the lead probably in this situation had they not air dodged out on that first stock. Should be able to pick up one here. Looks for the down tilt read, but the tech chase is not there just yet. Now 156.7 counting here for Trix's pummel. Gonna look for a way out. The dash attack isn't gonna find anybody. They're just looking for a way in on this Byleth, who is now starting to take advantage of this little bit of range and the advantage state that they've got. As things kind of get reset into neutral, Trix is finally able to poke in, but really doesn't have an answer for keeping Albi in a death situation once they're stuck on the ledge.
And it's very rare you see an opponent of Roy's live to 170% because of how many KO moves this character has. Forward tilt can KO, up tilt's gonna KO you, forward tilt's gonna KO you, neutral air, forward air, back air, every single aerial this character has will KO you, and so will that up throw. I did mention in the beginning that I didn't much like this stage for Byleth, but right now Albi proving me wrong as they have an 82% lead right now. Did have a minor stock lead and almost got a really good conversion right there. Kind of just have to stay the course right now. Keep Trix out. Don't let them get... Oh, God. Don't let them get in because of things like that. I appreciate the attempt there from Trix. I honestly do. But, man, when you're fighting a character that has that much range or as much range as Byleth, you got to be really precise with those reads and make sure you don't miss because you're going to get punished every single time.
Oh my God!
Oh wow! Okay. Ooh, everyone's letting it rip now. Oh man!
Thankfully, I don't think it was anywhere in the realm of possibility getting hit by that. But Albi is looking to try and close things out as soon as possible, and that's gonna kill. No way! Believe that hit at 70 or something like that. I don't know if they should have even died from that. But Albi will establish a 2-stock lead for St. Ambrose, the first time they've had a lead, not just in this series, but going into another matchup within a particular game. So that is a solid start, but it's really only just the first test, because St. Ambrose, that was a player they hadn't seen yet. But if Caps comes in, right, like that's going to be an issue. If we see Volt come back in, that could be an issue. And here's the last moment, as really we just saw this Roy struggling to land hits. That landing there was doing a lot of work, and then ran right into it, as you said, that final kill. Unfortunate to see, especially after they air dodged to their death on the first stock.
Yeah, I honestly completely forgot about that air dodge. I think you mentioned it earlier too. There was a good chance that Trix might have had the lead and actually got a KO if they didn't get that air dodge. So I'm wondering if that's going to play a factor now. Now they still have Caps too. You saw Caps take out 8 stocks. That's kind of their nuke that they have waiting at any point in time. Still haven't seen Premium. I would like to see, if they do play Banjo, I'd actually, be interested to see how Banjo does in a crew battle. I haven't actually seen them in a crew battle before. But yeah, even just despite the 2-stock lead, like the fact that they have Caps 2 still waiting, maybe they'll go anchor, maybe they'll go second. I still have a lot of confidence in Guam to finish this up. But St. Ambrose, I'm curious to see how they're going to play with the lead. Unfortunately, we haven't seen them with a lead very often. But the thing is, once Byleth goes out, and I said this at the beginning, once Albi eventually does bow out, you don't have anybody left who can take stock consistently other than Ness. But Ness kind of just loses to everybody on University of Guam's team. Well, not everybody necessarily, but definitely Steve, definitely the Incineroar, and definitely Rob. Man, this is still looking bad for Ambrose, despite them having the 2-stock lead. I'm not too confident right now. Ugh.
Well, you gotta have some confidence for him, because St. Ambrose, this is do or die for. I mean, it's do or die for both of these teams, but especially now being down 0-1 in the series, do or die for sure for our St. Ambrose squad, who, yeah, they've been struggling a little bit this week, just in these matchups, coming down a lot of the time, just getting hard matchup checked in some of these spreads. Like, just their character matchup pool is not as strong as other teams, and so they kind of have to make up for that with just player skill, which at the moment Guam has a little bit more than that. So I think they're really going to need a really solid performance from Albi Fresh to see how many more stocks they can get. Albi was playing pretty solid last night and had a really good matchup here against Trix. At least walked away with a 2-stock lead. To be fair for them, thankfully, like Trix kind of SD'd the first stock, but we take those, you take what you can get. Going into this, we're going to see what Guam puts out. I think we might see Caps again, because Caps did do well in this matchup, but I hear a Banjo Premium coming in, so we have a little bit of premium action to kick things off.
Dak, be honest with me. When's the last time you commentated the Banjo match? Let's be honest with me.
I want to say it was EGLX. Was Banjo out by then, actually? I can't even remember.
2019?
Yeah.
Yeah. I think so.
Might have been, when did Banjo?
I think Banjo was 2019. Needless to say, it's been 3 years since I've commentated a Banjo set. It's been 3 years since I've seen a Banjo really at any, deep into any really tournament. This is not a very common character. You absolutely can get matchup checked by this character. They have a lot of goofy and wacky stuff, which is very tried and true to the character and that character's nature. A lot of weird stuff that can absolutely clap you if you are not paying attention. We have that Wonder Wing that we mentioned before. We have setups just like that. That ladder with the egg gun into that Wonder Wing is absolutely devastating. Lucky for Albi, they DI'd that properly and we were able to survive it. But man, I want to see more stuff like that coming through from Premium.
And you're right. I believe Banjo came out September of 2019, so just before that. I rarely see any Banjo, which is a shame, because I love Banjo. And right now, Premium's loving some Banjo with a nice little lead here on Albi. They take that first stock and still have some room to work with, and might be able to get away with taking both of Albi's stocks to tie this up without losing a stock of their own. That would be a very, very solid swing here for Guam to get them back into this to tie up the series. Premium getting a little overzealous with these side Bs, but knows they have so many to burn. They might as well go through them as rapid as they can. And also remember, not just Banjo's stocks will refresh here, but so will those Wonder Wings going into the next game, of course. So you'll have even more opportunity to let those loose. 138 now for Premium. as they are well within kill percent. But now Albie is entering that range as well. That grab almost landing off the egg confirm, but just barely whiffs, getting him off stage. Another egg just barely whiffing. That's not going to kill Premium. At 156, this bear is big as well, but playing around too much of the ledge gets knocked away.
And unfortunately for Premium, they actually burned a lot of their Wonder Wings there. They didn't have any left. For those who don't know, you only have 5 per stock, as we do see that up tilt going to confirm that KO for Premium. Yeah, you do only have 5 of them per stock. They do not refresh unless you die. And we saw Premium there just burn a lot of them, maybe a little bit too rapidly. Would have liked to see them save them for a little bit, but I really think they're just trying to get that KO as quickly as they can without losing the stock. Did not work out for them. They did lose 1. But you know what? Albie doing what they needed to do. Took out tricks, took a stock off of Premium here. And I think if you take out anything more than 3, you've done more than enough to kind of pass it off to your team and let them handle the rest. But now we run into the issue I keep bringing up and was talking about before. Where do you go from here? Do you go Greninja / Zelda? Zelda might not necessarily be a terrible pick here. Obviously, reflectors and stuff like that. Phantom could be really good against Banjo too. Bayonetta might be a solid pick as well. Witch Time is going to help you out, help you deal with a lot of those projectiles. You have Ness and Lucas, which could also be decent, but you risk getting hit by like an errant egg off stage and just losing your stock at like 10% if you have to PK Thunder back. I lean towards Bayonetta being a good pick here. Just based on the fact that Witch Time is going to help you deal with projectiles. Wonder Wing, you don't have to worry about it as much because of Bats Within, and again, because of Witch Time, things like that. Banjo isn't the greatest at landing. They can stall in the air for quite a bit, but with the exception of down air, they really can't land that well, which is where Bayonetta thrives if you're fighting a character that struggles to get back on the ground. So really, I think all signs point to Bayonetta being the good pick, other than, you know, Greninja, Zelda, or like Ness and Lucas here.
I think you're right on with that Bayonetta pick. That's where I'm going to go. I think they're going to put Blueby in. Everything you said there, totally on point. I think in this game right now, especially in this meta, Banjo is kind of just like a worse Snake. So
yeah,
a character that doesn't have as strong as an advantage state, still not the greatest disadvantage though, doesn't have as access to like, you know, grenades to be able to combo break or just get themselves out of bad situations. You have to, you know, kind of unintuitively grab those grenades and then have those, you know, like just the bouncing eggs and back. So yeah, it's not as easy to set up, and Wonder Wing's gonna get called out. Like that's an easy whiff punish. So I would say we see Banjo kind of maybe get a little bounce back here by a Bayo if they throw that in. Bayo can certainly combo Banjo as well, just this big meaty orb that can get picked up and scooped anytime, anywhere. Whereas Greninja, a bit more slippery, Ness a bit more slippery and smaller, and then Zelda can play a bit more of a defensive game to keep Bayo out, or keep Banjo out. So I'm thinking we see a Bayo come in here.
K-Rool.
Instead, Big Boy's K-Rool. I don't believe Big Boy went K-Rool at all last time.
We only saw Ness and we only saw Lucas today, and I'm also seeing our Extra Life promo on the screen right now. Everyone, change kids' health to change the future. Join our Super Team page today. Click on the banner below for more information on that. But yeah, Big Boy's K-Rool. This is the third character in 2 days that we've seen come through from Big Boy. But you know what? K-Rool may not be the greatest character offline, but in the crew battle format, this is, I feel like, a very, very solid pick here. Definitely, I mentioned the problem of this team lacking KO power. K-Rool definitely is not wanting for that, can KO you incredibly early, especially if you are not prepared. So I actually do like this K-Rool switch here for them, and you know what, maybe I don't, because that was a double Wonder Wing, burning 2 of those joints to get that KO, and a third one right there already has Big Boy at 43%, and this is kind of where you do see K-Rool struggle. Disadvantage is very bad for K-Rool. If you get hit once, it feels like you're getting hit 95. Woo!
Oh no!
Oh boy!
They're gonna end up dying
95 times.
God. And the teabag. I mean, you can't. I guess you can teabag after getting, surviving that, but getting hit by a nice flashy footstool Banjo combo. I don't know about that. And that is something you got to take back to the drawing board there. But Premium, unfortunately, not confirming a kill off it. I'm assuming they wanted to take Big Boy with them, which would have been helpful more than anything. But now they need to get this kill fast.
and does have that 160. That forward air is going to do it. One stock left for both of these, and yeah, you would have loved, if you're Premium, you would have loved to get that drag down kind of suicide KO there, but unfortunately for them, or unfortunately for Premium, and fortunately for Big Boy, they still have one stock left. But man, with the way Premium is playing right now, K-Rool and Big Boy just haven't been able to deal with any of these projectiles, the grenades, the eggs, anything like that. It really feels like as soon as Premium throws one out and you shield it, there's another one right in your face, ready and waiting to hit you.
Those eggs are just such a great option to get something going on K-Rool and get advantage state in your favor. It's just quicker than Crown, quicker than the blunderbuss, and those kills are coming quicker for Premium as well, as Big Boy gets killed off the top. And just like that, it's now swung back into University of Guam's favor off of the backpack of this Banjo.
One thing I loved about watching Premium there is their conversions off of that like egg gun were really, really good. We saw a couple of, hits, 2 hits with the egg gun into up tilt. We saw, I think the first match we saw did a bit of a ladder combo into a forward air, I believe it was. So those egg conversions are really, really on point for Premium. And when you're a Banjo, a character who doesn't have, the greatest tools necessarily, your kind of cheesy, very specific character combos have to be on point, and for Premium they really seem to be.
They certainly are. We're going to see one more of those come in off of, look at that, off of the first hit of the egg gun, and then confirming that into the kill off the top. That was a conversion that we saw, I believe, earlier in the previous matchup as well. So really well done there by Premium. The Banjo, you were sleeping on this Banjo, man.
I was. I'm sorry.
And who wasn't? Your boy. Banjo can do some, do some work, and now has done so, taking out Albion Big Boy. That is a rough loss for St. Ambrose, as Big Boy's been playing kind of that back half anchor position for this team 2 nights in a row now. So to now see Big Boy kind of go out early, and now just Blueby and Balloon Pants being left against a Banjo that's got some momentum. And then we might see Volt again, the Rob. We could see Caps, who might even be in that sweeper anchor position now, right? Like, okay, like Caps took out like 8 stocks, but we can just have them be the last player, and we're confident that they're not gonna, they're not gonna get counterpicked, for example, and they know that they have that player skill to round things out. So University of Guam now have things in their favor. St. Ambrose, unfortunately, not in the best position going into this next one.
Yep, they still have Blubby the Bayonetta left, and they still have Balloon Pants the Greninja/Zelda left. I said this before, I think I lean towards Bayonetta. I think Bayonetta might have actually been a better pick than K-Rool in that last matchup. We saw how good Banjo is at comboing K-Rool, especially with that egg gun. That's not really going to be a thing for Bayonetta. You have the Bats Within, which can kind of just cheat you out of a lot of iffy combos. Could kind of cheat you out of it, and I really do think like that egg combo, even though it's solid, I feel like there might be just enough leeway where Bats Within might be able to be a factor there. Same thing with Witch Time. That's why I think Bayonetta would have been a good pick there. I don't hate going K-Rool, but if you're going to go K-Rool, I think I would have saved that for afterwards. Because, again, problem I keep bringing up with St. Ambrose's roster, despite them all being very talented players, their character roster just does not mix very well. K-Rool was, unless Blubby or Balloon Pants have a more consistent KO character, I really think I would have saved Big Boy for third or for anchor. But again, I'm just going to finish off. I think you just go Bayonetta right now, try to clean this up. You can deal with a lot of the stuff that Banjo wants to do, and then just take your chances from there.
Yeah, I think you're right. This is something we just go back to time and time again, especially in Crews. You got to be able to have a roster that doesn't get hard counterpicked, or just like can really steal stocks away. And St. Ambrose just doesn't have that roster. I think, maybe if they're looking towards whenever they play Collegiate Crews again, maybe that's something that they think of. Like, we don't do we do winners interviews, not, interviews to the other team.
Yeah.
But that would be a question I'd ask. Like, okay, like, what adjustments would you make roster-wise? They're certainly not out of it, though. Like, this is looking way closer than the previous game, and we are going to see the Bayonetta come in now. The character, as you said, that we were expecting for them to come out a little earlier.
Sorry, that button check that that Premium was doing up in the corner was mad funny. Just up there, just chilling in that corner. And you know what, everybody? We run on Dunkin'. Everyone click on that Dunkin' banner below to find a Dunkin' near you. I wish we had Dunkin' up in Canada. Whenever I go to America, that's one of the first places I go to. But anyways, to this match right here, Premium already 34% on Blubby's Bayonetta. And man, the factors that I thought were going to make this a good matchup for Bayonetta seem to not be coming true, because right now, Premium doing everything they want to Blubby.
This is, I think, just a huge matchup check right here. It doesn't seem like Blubby really knows, really knows what to do against this Banjo. Is getting hit by these setups that Premium has been landing pretty consistently in this series so far. Just no one has an answer for a matchup. I mean, this is a lot of ultimate and something that even 4 years into the game, if you just, there's such a big roster, if you haven't particularly played against this character and you don't know what to expect against them, you're going to lose a lot of life as a result. Still, though, Premium is yet to take a stock, which is the crucial factor here. Blubby is able to bring themselves back into this and has also tied things up.
Ouch.
And those Wonder Wings have to be, you got to be careful with those. Premium is getting too close for comfort, whiffing those just outside of kill range here for Blubby, as that up smash comes out yet again. And look, Blubby is just trying to fake out and bait Premium, and it's working out. They get another heel slide, but right through, powering through with that Wonder Wing is Premium, who lands 2 egg shots. The forward smash just a bit early, a bit out of range. Bats within, gets Blubby out of the corner, but will they be able to secure the stock before Premium takes one? No, another air dodge. Is that, what, the 3rd time that we've seen an erroneously placed air dodge take someone out at a crucial moment? I think so.
Yeah, we saw one from Trix, we saw one from someone else, and yeah, now Banjo, Premium. That is unfortunate, and that's kind of the issue. When you're playing schools that are, what you said, like 11,000 kilometers, 7,000 miles away, sometimes things like that happen, especially with the buffer system that Smash Ultimate has. You see it even happen offline at times. Can't imagine what it's like when you're playing from someone that far away. But hey, either way, if you're Blubby, you'll take that any day of the week, because Premium was doing pretty well, and I really feel like they would have been able to take a stock before Blubby would have been able to take that stock, just based on characters. But yeah, Blubby doing exactly what they needed to do, not losing one, and we are actually going into this next game tied up, I believe, if I'm not mistaken, at 6 stocks each.
Yeah, 6 stocks each. So we do have 2 more players left. For the Guam side, as they just lost Premium to Banjo, as you said, they lost Trix. So we could see Caps come back in on the Incineroar. We could see Volt come back in on the Rob. They also potentially have a Cloud. And then we have Mitro, who we think plays Steve. So that's a solid roster of characters to come in. I mean, Incineroar maybe not the immediate pick you'd think, but we've already seen what Caps can do. 8 stocks already on the Incineroar. St. Ambrose, thankfully, Blubby tying things up, but now where do they go from here? Are they going to be able to handle the characters that are left, the players that are left for this University of Guam squad?
Man, I do not know the answer to that question, because again, the fact that Caps 2, we haven't even seen them yet, and this match is close. We saw what they did in Game 1. 8 stocks. 8 stocks, and that basically won the game for University of Guam. I would imagine they might be saving them for last. Maybe they want to give everyone else a chance to play a bit. But the thing is, because they're saving Caps 2 this long and this match is so close, if it comes down to like a one-on-one, 3 stocks left between Caps 2 and whomever else, that just becomes a regular best-of-1 game at that point, and that can go either way. All you need is a couple good conversions, and that could really go either way. So I do think keeping Caps 2 for this long, though I kind of understand it, just keeping them as a contingency plan, if you hold on for them for a little bit too long, it may come back to bite you. So that's why I would imagine we would see Caps 2 right now. I kind of hope that we do. And then you save either Volt or Mitro as your anchor there to clean it up if Caps 2 can't do it. But yeah, Blubby, the Bayonetta, doing very well in that last match, doing exactly what they needed to do. You hate to see as a competitor your opponent SD, but you take it, and that's like the 3rd or 4th we've seen today, which just kind of sucks.
Yeah, it's I don't know really what we're gonna expect here. I'm thinking for St. Ambrose, they just gotta try to have this Bayo hold on as long as possible, but I think Caps might just come in here and clean up. And there's 6 stocks left. Caps took 8. Didn't really have, I'm not sure if we saw the Caps versus Blubby matchup last time. I don't believe we saw Incineroar versus Bayo.
I don't think we did.
I don't think we did. So be interested to see if that's what we do get.
Steve!
Oh, it is the Steve themselves. Mitro comes in. We're getting a little bit of a mixture here for Guam, as now all 5 players have played for this team, which you love to see. And they're going to check out that connection. But wow, Steve on an 11,500 kilometer connection.
That sounds not fun, to be the least. As we get into this next game, a bit of a DLC's past against DLC's future. For those who don't know, everything you've heard about Steve in this game, Bayonetta was that, but 10 times worse in Smash 4. So it's cool to be able to see these characters that you don't really see fight too often be able to go up against each other here. But in Smash Ultimate, you definitely got to say Steve is the better character, arguably the best character in the game. I feel like most people aren't gonna argue that. And you let Steve go to a big stage like Kalos, even though Bayonetta is not bad on big stages either. You really don't want to let Steve or give Steve room to run around and mine and to do things like that, which also that almost was a stock there for Maestro. But yeah, you really don't want to give Steve this much room. You want to be able to stuff them out, smaller stage, maybe like a small battlefield, or like I think Yoshi's might even be legal here. You don't want to give him time to run away.
You definitely do not. And I'm actually even surprised that this Guam team hasn't put out, the 2 players that kind of rounded out this game for them. I'm assuming because they want to have all their players play.
Yeah.
But Guam is actually kind of giving St. Ambrose a way back into this. Mitro has to hit this and does. I mean, if you don't get the follow-up off of that crazy active side B, I don't know what to tell you. You have to. That move is so nuts that it's a tick throw. Like, it checks your shield, and then it becomes active. And then even when it lands on the ground, you can still jump into it and get hit by this. And now here comes the obstacle course from Mitro. And while crafting, Louis says, no, you're going to hit the blast stone instead. But the diamond comes out anyway, so Mitro, no worries, still has the resources because Steve respawns with all their mats, which is totally cool and fair. And Louis going to have something to say about that.
That's one thing I never understood. I never understood about Steve's character, because if you play Minecraft, the one thing about the game is when you die, you lose all your stuff. You lose everything. The fact that they didn't carry that over to this game, I always found that to be very, very interesting. But yeah, either way, they do have that diamond. One good up tilt might spell a lot of damage here for Mitro, but you know what? Blueby is not really getting hit by too much stuff. There was a bit of a random forward smasher that did manage to land. Witch timing the TNT there, that was a bit of a weird interaction. And we were running right into it. You were doing such a good job up until that point, but hey, either way for Blueby, still surviving, still doing relatively well. And you mentioned earlier, Dak, right now as we see that forward smash come through, and wow, St. Ambrose with almost a 2-stock lead, with almost a 2-stock lead there, but now putting that back down to a tied game. But go back to my point you mentioned earlier, Dak, right now, University of Guam giving St. Ambrose a chance to win this game.
Yeah, I'm really surprised by that, because, I mean, if I were playing on such a connection, I'd almost want this over as soon as possible. Again, I'm not surprised because Guam only had 2 of their players play last game, so they probably just want all 3 players to jump in this time. But this is a different match that we're seeing here, and wow, Mitro just getting checked with these witch times over and over. And even though that minecart's able to get them out of the corner, once they're in close against Blueby, they're really kind of at a loss. And I'm surprised we're not just seeing more general, like, oh, barely. I was like, did they get back there?
Same.
I'm surprised we're not seeing more just general block laying, right? Like, just throw blocks all over the place, because then Bayo can't, ABK you, can't heal slide you as effectively. But instead, Mitro almost playing a way more mining focused game here, where they're just constantly looking for opportunities to mine rather than setting up blocks.
And every time they mine, you see Blueby just ready with whether it's an ABK or a backer or something, ready right in the Mitro's face, and I guess it doesn't even really seem to matter as that forward smash KOs from the opposite side of the stage. But yeah, to continue my point there, despite the win right there for Mitro, every single time they would get mats, they would go and try to mine something, you would see Blueby almost play it perfectly, go right in their face, back air, heel slide, ABK, whatever the case was, not really giving them a chance to get much off. We did see them get diamond once that entire match, which, you usually see Steve get diamond at least like twice per match in most scenarios. But Blueby is not really giving them a chance to do it, and I would have really loved to see Blueby win there, because I really feel like they played the Steve matchup about as well as you can as Bayonetta. But unfortunately for them, a little bit of bad DI is going to spell the end for them, potentially for the rest of the night. But now, St. Ambrose down to just Ballon Pants, either going to be Greninja or Zelda coming out. I wouldn't hate seeing the Greninja, if I'm being honest. You can just rush Steve down. Don't give them, basically do exactly what Blubby did there, but probably a little bit better, considering that Greninja's a lot faster. Rush them down, don't let them get anything out. Shurikens to interrupt with the mining, forward air to interrupt mining, everything like that. But we have seen them go Zelda a lot, so that's kind of what I expect to see here.
Yeah, I think we're going to probably see the Zelda as well. I think we only saw the Greninja once so far. So the Zeldas come out pretty much every other time. Yeah, I think Zelda might be the move that didn't fire. Like, okay, if you're trying to craft, you're gonna hit by a Din's Fire. If you try to set out a Minecraft, I'm gonna neutral B you, right? And you can even up B, I believe, through the wall and like try to hit Steve while he's mining. So Zelda has some good options. Phantom, of course, another one, like has a lot of good stuff and can kill on Steve and hit those, you know, meaty hits and get confirms off of grabs. But Zelda's slow, right? And if you aren't able to get those specials off, Steve especially can combo you and is able to chase you down a little bit. And it's also harder for Zelda to keep Steve in a landing situation, right? And keep him in the air because of her, you know, lack of speed. So one of the things that makes Steve, you know, at least somewhat manageable is his, you know, difficulty in kind of getting back onto the stage and landing. And Blonde Pants might not be able to do that very effectively as Zelda.
And yeah, before we get into this match, gotta shout out the Army ROTC, become a leader for life. And honestly, everybody, go to the Nate Star League Twitter to join our giveaway for a really nice backpack. Go to the Twitter, find that out right now. But yeah, to the match right now, Blonde Pants, the last player for St. Ambrose, the Zelda, not the greatest anchor, if I'm being honest with you, for being up front, not the greatest anchor, but I do think on Wi-Fi might be able to do okay against Steve. Again, that Phantom is going to be able to deal with blocks relatively well. I thought they were going to die like 5 times there. You have Din's Fire, which could also be an okay thing. You can up B right to Steve, just like we saw right there. But you mentioned it, the lack of speed is going to suck, but you know what? You don't need speed when you're landing up Bs. And oh wow, fortunately for Maestro, that actually not KOing there. Kind of surprised.
Are you surprised?
No,
are you surprised?
It's Zelda. It's Zelda.
I'm not surprised. It's Zelda and it's Steve.
Every time I see Zelda do some cool stuff, I remember that I'm watching Zelda, and the person's probably not going to get KO'd, despite how cool the stuff is.
Right? Zelda's stuff looks cool. It just like
it's Zelda.
Doesn't meet the
wow. Oh, well, don't need to land cool stuff when your opponent is SDing. We did see Maestro a few times be just on the brink of SDing and managed to survive most of their recoveries, but that time, unfortunately, couldn't do it. And color me surprised, we are on the last player for each of these teams, and not gonna lie, after the domination we saw from Guam in game number 1, did not think this is where we would be. I would imagine Caps 2 was coming out, and the thing is, that first game doesn't matter. I know they won by like 7 or 8 stocks. None of that matters now. It is just coming down to a best of 1 match between Blonde Pants and whoever University of Guam sends out. They have Caps 2, and I think they still have Volt left. If I'm them, I play it safe. I just go Caps. I just try to close this out as quickly as I can. You don't want to give St. Ambrose the chance to even think that they could win this match.
And I would even say that it's still very much in St. Ambrose's court, because if this does go to a game 3, Guam can just kind of run back what they did to win in game 1, right? They just put Caps and Volt right back in from the start. So, and we were talking about playing with your food earlier in this series, and I think Guam is almost doing that a little bit. Like, okay, like gonna give this other team a chance, but we know we're gonna win. Maybe not. I mean, this has been a hard match to call, because I mean, we've seen 4 characters SD, likely because of connection issues, right? Or just connection quality in general. It's harder to just land some of these hits and be precise. So we're seeing characters that don't need to be as precise, who can kind of just press buttons, get out there and take dubs, which in that way, I do think we're going to see Volt. But, you know, Rob's a character like, I don't have to be too precise. Like, I can just kind of, you know, use gyro, use laser, use nair, like just, you know, keep hitboxes out and rack up damage. But Caps was playing really well, despite being on Incineroar. It took 8 stocks. So, like, I would actually venture we're probably going to see Caps, you know, even though the matchup might not be confirmed, like, it might not be super in their favor. Caps was the strongest player we've seen tonight so far. What do you think? What do you think we're going to see?
I'm thinking Caps as well. What's going to see? It is going to be It is going to be Caps, despite, you know, matchups and stuff maybe not being amazing. I think it just comes down to one player might just be better than the other. we saw Caps dominate everybody on the team, and this is nothing against Blonde Pants, but after that performance from Caps, I don't think they care about matchups. I don't think they care about any of that stuff. They come and they're ready to play. But right now, Blonde Pants ready to play already. A quick 63%, looking to add on a little bit more. The one thing that was working super well for Caps in that first set is it really felt like they were landing Alolan whips whenever they wanted. They were shooting like 75 to 80% on those Alolan whips. Hasn't been able to land one just yet, and has already taken 120%, jumping into that Din's Fire, and that might be a stock. Okay, no. That Phantom, a little bit too early right there. Another Alolan whip, gets the Lariat. But yeah, a 100% deficit for Caps right now, Dak. I didn't see this coming.
I didn't either, but that's a really good point. Those Alolan whips that were landing, I mean, it's way harder to get in when you have the Phantom constantly active where you would be using that move. Nice, uses the empty jump to bait out the shield grab and then lands the Alolan whip. Oh my god, I was about to say, is Blown about to SD here? That would be awful. And that neutral B also comes out in time, and you can take care of those Alolan whips. And also not able to really, I mean, I don't know. This is an interesting matchup because it almost felt like Caps was in a bit more control. I feel like we did see them play against Blonde Pants last time, and they were just using, revenge a lot more to revenge the Phantom and revenge the Din's Fire. And we're not seeing that as much. We're seeing a lot more double jumps, empty jumps into side B, where I feel like Caps just needs to keep things a bit, simpler, right? And not constantly, double jumping in neutral. Zella's going to be all over that. The Alolan whip does come through, and the up throw will commence. Another one lands. That should kill. Still, Caps can easily do it right here, and I think now they're like, all right, let's not go to a game 3. Let's finish this up.
Yeah, and that's kind of why I don't like keeping Caps this long. You got such a big lead in that first game. You think you would think they would have wanted to keep that momentum going here in game number 2, and right now, definitely that risk for keeping Caps waiting this long not working out, as we see a 70% lead right here for Blonde Pants. They do get that revenge. Alolan Whip's going to do about 60 or so % damage. That is absolutely insane. Bringing them right back into this match. And another revenge off the up B into a dash attack. That awareness from Caps was incredible. And just like that, momentum has completely shifted to the side of the University of Guam. And Caps one stock away from winning the LCQ over St. Ambrose University.
A match that it seems like Caps is kind of working from behind almost the entire time, and now suddenly has not only the lead, but is starting to extend that lead extensively. We saw that last time, right? That down till you hang at the ledge way too long, and that will hit below the ledge. So Caps...
again!
Oh my god, no way it ends like that. St. Ambrose has to be reeling, and just as it seemed like it might go either way, Caps runs away with it on those last couple stocks. And University of Guam is able to take the W and move forward in the postseason. Unfortunately, that means it is all over for St. Ambrose. They will drop here 2 losses in a row here on broadcast past couple days. They played well, and they did keep it close, but it just wasn't enough.
But honestly, this hats off to St. Ambrose after losing so harshly in that first game, being able to just keep their composure and make it a game here in this second game, the second set right here. And if it wasn't for that SD, it was definitely a possibility that we may have seen Blonde Pants actually win. They were going hit for hit, stock for stock with Caps 2 up until that point, and you hate to lose like that. But I really feel like if you're Guam, you also hate to win like that. Like just as a competitor, you want to beat your opponent at their best. Like you take it, you take the W, you're happy and cool, you're moving on. But you really hate to win like that. But everyone just hats off to St. Ambrose, a very valiant effort from the University of Guam, showcasing why they made it this far. Like you said, winning the LCQ, making it further into the overall bracket. And yeah, I'm going to be really interested to talk to them to see what their mindset is. Like you said, it's like 12 a.m. or 11, or not 12, like 12 p.m.
I want to say it's probably noon for them now, yeah.
Noon for them, so they just woke up, had their breakfast, energetic, probably had some Dunkin' coffee. I don't know if they have Dunkin' over in Guam. I really hope they do. But, and they were good. And as we get into the bracket, time zone differences are going to play a massive factor. If you're in the East Coast, if you're in EST, maybe it's 8 o'clock for you and it's your first match. You just had school, you just had work, you have to come home and play. Versus if you're in the West Coast, maybe you're playing at 4 o'clock. 5 o'clock. Maybe you just had a couple classes. Maybe you didn't have much to do that day. Or maybe you had the day off and you have to play like, early afternoon, something like that. That's going to play a big factor coming into the playoffs as the schools are going to be getting further and further apart from each other. And I think that may have been a factor in this match here.
Yeah, I definitely think it is. And it's actually such an interesting dynamic because these teams are so used to playing in the regular season in their own conference. And now when you go into the postseason, which is, the most important part of, the whole run, that's when you start to have to deal with these connections between these schools. And yeah, I'm sure some of these schools are like, all right, I hope we end up running into someone we played before almost, because at least then we know that the distance is a lot closer. Yeah, Guam definitely... I think the point that you made earlier today, were just like, Guam is always in this situation where they have to play a long distance connection because of where they are geographically, and yet they were still able to pull off a 4-1 regular season, 5-1 regular season run, and unfortunately they didn't, win in postseason yet until just now. But this is something I'm sure that they've had to deal with. That said, they were likely playing, West Coast teams, right? Yeah. Iowa is in the Midwest, right? A little bit farther. You still have about, third of the country, quarter of the country out from there. Still, Guam certainly able to come out and play and do really well. They had a very solid run in that first game off the backs of Caps and Volt, and then Caps playing that anchor position when they needed it most. They were clutch and were able to take game 2. So shouts to Guam. So Guam will continue their postseason run here as they make it through both last chance qualifiers, right? So they lost to Full Sail in the last chance qualifier already. They survive it here in their second attempt, and they will continue forward.
And a team who I definitely would not want to see come playoffs, and we do have an interview with the University of Guam right now. Yeah, I'd be really interested to see how they're feeling. Caps 2, how are you feeling after that win, my friend?
Feeling good. It's the second semester in a row that we made it to the playoffs, so I'm very happy about that. I hope that we can get a better performance than last time.
Absolutely. So I first got to talk about that Game 1 performance. You took off 8 stocks and some really fantastic Incineroar play. What was going through your mind there on that run? And then my biggest question is what was the thinking on changing up the lineup Game 2 after having such a successful run in the first game with that lineup?
But for the first game, I was mostly just thinking about I wanted to just play free. I wanted to play how I usually play. So go for insane reads with revenge, go for side B whenever I can, right? Let's do what I like doing when I play. And that worked very, very well for the first game. And then for Game 2, I just wanted to give all my teammates a chance to play at the very least. Because throughout the season, it's very hard for some of them. Usually swap out 2 players in lineup. So I wanted to make sure that they had at least a game in for today.
So yeah, kind of jump off that point. That first game you absolutely dominated, but that second game probably a bit closer than you would have liked. How nervous were you going into that last game against Milan, and how did you feel when unfortunately they kind of SD'd there?
I mean, when I was going to the last game, I kind of just thought it's very normal for me to go anchor. So it's just it's another day at the office. It's another day of me going last. So it's another me of being in our standard lineup. So and then when the SD happened, I was really sad. It's you don't want to lose like that, obviously, but it is what it is, and that's just how the game ends.
Yeah, definitely unfortunate. Don't want to go out that way. Still, dub's a dub, and as you try to keep your postseason run alive here, what do you think is the biggest takeaway you have from this game as you move forward?
It's I still think we're strong. We can still beat a lot of teams. It's just up to us for the day that we have to just show up to play, and I hope that in the playoffs you can make a really good run.
Okay, Caps, we're going to let you go. Congrats on the win and good luck the rest of the way in the playoffs. I hope you do very, very well. And based off today, I think you will. So again, good luck and tell the rest of your team congratulations, okay?
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
So that was Caps 2. Really, I feel like the MVP for the University of Guam. Again, 8 stocks in that first game, able to clean it up in game number 2 there. A team I do not want to see I wouldn't want to see in that playoffs. They have a really balanced roster of, good offline characters and some good meta characters and some good online characters as well. didn't really seem to have a weak link either. So again, not a team I'd want to see in the playoffs, but that is going to be it for us. But before we leave, everybody, we have a giveaway. Everybody, go to the Nate's Star League Twitter, because ROTC is back with another collegiate camo giveaway. Again, check out the chat and the Nate's Star League Twitter to enter for a chance to win a PS5 controller, that's new, and a Herschel Little America Backpack Pro from the ROTC. Everybody be a leader, and that PS5 controller is looking kind of clean. I might need a new one. I might go enter that if I can. But yeah, everybody, again, Nate's Star League Twitter to enter that giveaway. Shouts to ROTC again for supplying those prizes. And here is a schedule. Obviously, today we had some more Super Smash Brothers like we had yesterday. Tomorrow we have a double header of Overwatch 2 and Rocket League, and followed up by another Overwatch 2 and Rocket League double header this coming Sunday. So a full weekend of collegiate esports action, and man, it is starting to heat up. Playoffs are finally here. Grand Finals is going to be here before you know it. And my final thoughts, again, since this season has just gone by so quick, we've gotten to see so many great and talented players, and I'm just really excited and amped to see who ends up being the one team left once the season is over.
Yeah, we're getting to that point, Mies. It's been a fantastic season so far, and the postseason has been just as good. These teams are definitely realizing, like, who you're putting in at one point is, matters more than ever. Your character lineups matter more than ever. Now the connection is going to matter more than ever. But yeah, we had another great series here tonight, and back-to-back nights of Smash. I mean, who doesn't love that?
I absolutely love it, and I also love our sponsors like Extra Life. Change kids' health to change the future. Join our super team page today and click the banner below for more information about that. Nate's Star League also runs on Dunkin'. Again, click the Twitch panel below to find a Dunkin' near you. And we just mentioned ROTC, be a leader. And again, go to the Nate's Star League Twitter to join a giveaway for that Herschel backpack and that that beautiful camo PS5 controller. But that is going to be it for us tonight. Hope you all enjoyed that intense match, and everybody have a great weekend. Again, Overwatch 2 and Rocket League this entire weekend, and then next week, we're going to do this entire thing again. Playoffs are finally here, and you're not going to want to miss it. Everyone, stay tuned next week.